For 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EXIT25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EXIT25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Caniacs, get ready for Iced Tea, a brand new podcast that gives you the behind-the-scenes stories from the Carolina Hurricanes. You watch the game back?
Yeah, all the time.
And are you hard on yourself?
Oh, God, yeah.
Any of the players ask for their crust off?
We do have one player that I cut the crust off, and I individually wrap it for him.
Your name is on the Stanley Cup.
It's the best trophy in sports.
Follow Iced Tea with Megan LaMontagne in any podcast app or watch the show on YouTube.
You know what's fun about Ram Truck Month at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington? Nothing if it's not you behind the wheel of a brand new 2025 Ram 1500. With savings as much as $15,000 off a new 2025 Ram 1500, you can have all the fun driving this powerful, rugged truck built for work, play, and everything in between. So get off your keister and get to Heister today. Hurry to Ram Truck Month at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington.
Hey, Daydreamer. Did we catch you thinking about your dreams? With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for them. So, let's imagine your biggest dream. Not the easy one, the one behind it. The one you work towards every day and every night. Can you see it? Then we can help you plan for it. Ready to start planning for your dreams? You can at wellsfargo.com/getpremier.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep 149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. What? They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. 149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
This is what breaking news on WREL sounds like.
A teenager accused of murder in custody tonight.
From the moments that matter.
Let's take a look at those live pictures right now from Sky 5.
When seconds count.
Authorities say they are very concerned for the safety of the public.
When your safety is the priority.
Breaking news right now, a large fire in eastern Wake County. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Watch WREL News. Breaking news coverage you can count on.
I'm Tiffany. I have some tips for you on how to quit smoking like I did. First, I did some reading about it. I found a lot of great advice on how to quit smoking and picked out the ways I thought would work best for me. I started by setting a quit date. Then I threw out my ashtrays, lighters, and matches. I did other things too, like exercising more, and it worked. But I'd still get cravings, especially on long car rides. To help me with that, I put a picture of my mother in my car. She died of lung cancer from smoking cigarettes when I was only 16. Now I have a 16-year-old daughter. That picture of my mother reminds me that I don't want to miss all the things my daughter is going to do in her life, including turning 17.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Isaiah's going to dribble it over midcourt, and she's going to dribble it out. Everyone standing in Reynolds Coliseum as NC State will celebrate a 104-95 win. They knock off number one Notre Dame. And it's going to be a rush court hit. Home win. How about that, Pat?
This is the Adam Gold Show. What's up? Wow, what a way to start. Hi, everyone. I'm Adam. Victoria's here. And we are live on YouTube, as we always are.
Yeah, it's a Monday. We made it.
We survived. YouTube.com/Adam Gold Show or /999 The Fan. Same way, you'll get to us. And spend your afternoon. Just put it up, right? Put it up right there. Whether you have whether you're paying attention to the video, you can, or just kind of taking in the show that way, because you can do that. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, do all the things you have to do. Tell a friend, phone a friend. I don't know. Great weekend for, I think, everybody won in the Triangle.
It's been a minute since we could say that.
Right? The basketball players.
Right.
All 6 basketball teams won impressively this weekend, right? What the Wolfpack women did last night was tremendous, or yesterday was tremendous. College game day in the house. Wes Moore, college game day was here, whatever. He actually whatevered college game day being here.
Yeah, no big deal.
I saw that in the postgame, went, only one man could whatever that.
Yeah.
He's going to join us in 10 minutes or so, and I will credit him for just going, whatever, college game day was here. Because I sent him a text immediately after that.
Needs to be on a shirt.
College game day, comma.
Whatever.
Whatever. I actually want to read what I sent to him. College, in quotes, college game day, whatever. What?
Yeah, no big deal.
I asked him if he wanted to talk Cowboys.
Oh, yeah. Let's not.
The answer was, I don't want to talk Cowboys. But great atmosphere at Reynolds Coliseum. How many times have we seen over the last, certainly this year, because it's been a tough year for NC State, right?
Yeah.
If you spend enough time, whether it's on Twitter or Blue Sky or message boards, there are so many fans who kind of understand why you can't, but want to go back to Reynolds Coliseum.
Right. Yes.
You can't play. If you're the NC State men, you cannot play in front of 5,000 people. Can't do it. Not on a regular basis. I mean, Cameron Indoor Stadium is small, right?
Very.
But it's almost 10,000 strong.
Exactly.
So, and could Duke fill a 12, 13, or 14,000 seat arena? Probably.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't need to.
Then you wouldn't have people passing out and puking. So
it's atmosphere.
Exactly.
So State's not going to go back and play in Reynolds. And there are plenty of places around women's college basketball where they pack big arenas. Tennessee, Iowa, South Carolina, Connecticut. They pack big places. State could probably, especially the way it's going now, squeeze 2, 3, maybe 4,000 more people into a lot of games. Like this one, probably would have sold out if they put it at Lenovo. Would have been pretty close to a sellout if they put it at Lenovo. Anyway, I understand, and I'm not talking about attendance here, really. I'm talking about atmosphere. Because to hear that yesterday was awesome. And we had it at Reynolds. At Carmichael when State and Carolina just played. Right? And when Duke's going, it's a great atmosphere at Cameron for the ladies. It was a great weekend for everybody. Duke ripped Syracuse apart. Tar Heels won again. They're playing well. Man, again, all 3 women's teams were great. State wins in double overtime over previously number 1, because they won't be number 1 now, Notre Dame. Double overtime win. Foul or don't foul at the end of regulation. I've said this a billion times. I get it. I'm not saying it's a bad play to foul, right? I would prefer to play defense. I know if I play defense, can't foul when you play defense, that it's not a gimme, a 3-pointer, right? That it's not a gimme. I think fouling invites the potential of a loss, regardless of how improbable it may be. I just assume play it out. Anyway, we're going to ask Wes Moore what the decision-making process was on the bench, because the Notre Dame hit a 3, forced overtime. I think it happened at the end of the first overtime too, and there you go. Mm-hmm. But double overtime winner Zoe Brooks had 33 points.
That's all.
She was all. State was great.
Yeah.
So we'll talk to Wes Moore about that coming up. About 10 minutes from right now. Are we ready? We are. All right. So the Wolfpack women delivered. NC State's men also delivered. 11-0 start in favor of the Wolfpack. Wake Forest kind of righted the ship. And then as we approached the under 8 media timeout in the second half, Wake had a lead. Wake was ahead by like 6 or something, or 5, whatever it was. And then NC State went on a 13-0 run. Doesn't that normally happen the other way?
Usually.
Right? So, credit to the Wolfpack. Good start. Paul McNeil, out of nowhere, got a start. Was awesome in the game. I guess 2 freshmen can't play at the same time. Trey Parker only played 5 minutes. He hadn't played well of late. But you'd like to see both. I'm thinking I'm already into next year. Women's college basketball poll is out.
Oh, nice.
It's just in.
Nice.
Wait a second. AP women's college. Where's Notre Dame is 3. Carolina is 8. NC State is 9. See, I'm looking at for our other. Duke is 16. It's pretty good.
There you go.
Florida State's 24, Louisville 25. 6 ACC schools in the top 25. See, we're a women's basketball conference, not a men's basketball conference. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so the Wolfpack win. They beat Wake Forest. Paul McNeil had 24 points, 4 offensive rebounds. The offensive rebounds were key early because I think 2 of those led to buckets, including one of his 3 assists where he got the offensive rebound and kicked it back out to Michael O'Connell, had 13 assists in the game. Dontrez Styles, 22 points and 10 rebounds. State was a 3-point shooting machine. No rhyme or reason, but good. And Paul McNeil was a big part of that. He made 4 of 7. So
don't know where this was at.
Good performance for the Wolfpack. Against the team that needed to win, Wake Forest is really, really trying to miss the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. They're going to take 4 ACC schools. Who wants to be the 4th? Does Wake really want it? I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Tar Heels, stay in it. Keep winning the games you're supposed to win. Beat Virginia. They're no good. Win your next 3. Take a swing at Duke. I don't think you're beating Duke. Go to the ACC tournament. Win twice there, and I think you still have a chance. I don't care what the bracketologists are telling us.
Yeah.
Carolina, 3rd straight win is still in the first 4 out. And they're going to be there until the teams that are in the last 4 in play their way behind UNC.
Poor Steve Forbes. He's so frustrated with this team.
I love Steve Forbes.
Him.
They're not a good offensive team.
No.
They're just not. And it's weird because they have been a good offensive team every year under Forbes. They're not. They're a better defensive team this year. NC State maybe threw a wrinkle at him with Paul McNeil. But regardless, I have more confidence in NC State than I should. They need 2 more wins as long as one of them. They have to win Wednesday at Syracuse. If State wants to make the ACC tournament, they must win Wednesday at Syracuse. Must. That's not even negotiable. If you lose that game, you're not making the NCAA tournament. Notre Dame is going to win, I would say, 1 more game. Right? And Notre Dame won this weekend, so Notre Dame will probably get, I think, to 7 wins. You're not going to get to 7. If you must beat Syracuse. That's the win you must get. It's possible that Cal doesn't win another game, in which case 2 more wins would get State over Cal. You can't tie Cal because Cal swept you. How did that happen? Anyway, but the Wolfpack can still get into the ACC tournament, and I think that would make everybody feel a lot better. I really don't think that Kevin Keatts' job is in jeopardy, but missing the ACC tournament,
not good.
I think causes a lot of different conversations to be had. Really, and again, I said this a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't last week, it was the week before, that the administration needs to either back Kevin Keatts, not with salary, but with resources for his basketball program, or they need to just move on. It's one of the two. Because Kevin Keatts, who is a good basketball coach, I don't care what the people who I believe know basketball tell me, and I ain't the trained eye. I just watch the team on the court. I don't like the substitution patterns. I don't like some of the way that they do things, but they say that it's not about the coach. So I think Kevin Keatts has certainly last year he proved that he could coach. They got hot, but he pushed all the right buttons, right? So, but they're not, I don't believe they've been fair to him in terms of resources behind the program. So one of the two has to happen. Either back him or start over. And a new administration comes in with the juice, and if you hire right, maybe you'll do better. But honestly, I think Kevin Keatts can be the right guy if you let him go. Let him do his thing. Good win for Carolina. They still need more out of R.J. Davis and Elliot Cadeau. It's not great. But Jalen Withers was dynamite. 16 points, 11 rebounds. I mean, it's Carolina was 9 of 16 as a team from three-point range. Ian Jackson off the bench had 16 points. Van Allen Lubin had 14 points and 6 rebounds. Look, Virginia's not good. It's, Virginia went on a nice little run. They had won 3 in a row. Duke went up there and smashed them, and they're broken again because they're not good.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why Tony Bennett quit before the season started.
Big time.
Right? He's like, well, we're going to be bad.
Yeah. Avoid this.
I don't want to wear this. I'm sorry if that's harsh for Virginia people, but when there's a reason why both he and Jim Larinaga ditched the season. Because the teams are bad.
Mm-hmm.
If that's disrespectful, sorry. Tell me why I should think otherwise. Drake Powell had 11 points. Again, for North Carolina, just keep taking care of these games. All right. I think Duke won. Did Duke just kind of eke that game out at Madison Square Garden?
Right, yeah.
We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Brian Geisinger is going to join us. I thought this was going to be the competitive game. No, not a competitive game. I think that game started out Duke ahead by 20.
Yes.
Unbelievable massacre.
They were given a handicap.
Holy cow. A couple of very quick things about it, then I want to talk 2 minutes about the Carolina Hurricanes. The first thing is Duke had 11 players score, 7 players in double figures, 10 players had at least 1 assist. They had 28 assists as a team. They had 8 players with at least 2 assists. It's insane what they did. Like, you can't even go, well, Cooper Flagg did this. Everybody did everything. And they did it without Malik Brown. They did it without one of their best players. So, 110-67 at Madison Square Garden. All right.
Wow.
Quickly to the Hurricanes before we welcome in Wes Moore. So, it was not the ideal start to we'll call it the run-in of the season. 1/3 of the season remained going to, just short of 1/3 of the season, remained going to Saturday night's game in Toronto. And they were a defensive mess in the first period. Brent Burns gave the puck away for the first goal. The second, I'm trying to remember the sequence of the second goal. It escapes me. The third goal was a mistake twice. The fourth goal, also a mistake on the blue line. Burns lost David Kampf in the slot on the third goal. Shane Gostisbehere got worked and traffic coned for the fourth goal. But I also blame, in some ways, Pyotr Kochetkov, certainly for the fourth, a little bit on the second. They were bad defensively in their own end. Puck management was bad. Goaltending wasn't good enough. goaltending wasn't bad, but it wasn't good enough. And I'll just say this, and we're going to get into more detail probably at the Cory Lavallette's going to join us at 12:30, but also at the top of the hour. It might have been the worst singular game that Sebastian Aho has ever played. Ever. Like from the time he got on the ice with a stick and a puck and a team. I'm not sure we have ever seen a worse Sebastian Aho game than he played. Now, he played a good third period, but that's how bad the first two periods were, and I'll illustrate it this way before we welcome in Wes Moore. All you needed to know about how bad Aho was playing is that the head coach flipped him and Jesperi Kotkaniemi in the third period. So Kotkaniemi was playing with Jarvis and Rantanen, and Aho was playing with Blake and Hall. It didn't last for the entire period because Aho eventually got back where he belongs, but that's how bad it was.
It's not good.
That he demoted Aho off the top line. It was the first time in however many years he has done that. That's how bad Aho was for two periods.
Yeah.
It was staggering.
And Kotkaniemi took his spot.
And he wasn't very good either, to be honest. All right, speaking of very good. Only one person that I know could have college game day, be on campus, engineer one of the best, most fun, exciting, dramatic wins in school history, and go, college game day, whatever. Wes Moore, NC State women's basketball coach, after a 104-95 double overtime win over the top-ranked Fighting Irish. How do you whatever? College game day and a double OT win.
Saying that, I don't remember saying that.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah. All right. Whatever. It was unbelievable. Having them on campus, the students were unbelievable. Some of them started camping out at 10:30 the night before. The atmosphere in the arena, our fans overall were just. Again, I think they gave us that extra little bit of adrenaline shot we needed to get over the hump.
You know what's really interesting is that especially in the last week where we had weather issues, right? We had some games that were not exactly well attended, not just locally but nationally in college, in regionally rather in the area because of bad weather and people not traveling through the snow. And then the atmosphere, you contrast that with what you had at Reynolds. And it's I would imagine there's a lot of men's teams that are jealous of what you guys had the opportunity to play in, that environment. Can you speak a little bit more to just how maybe that helped you or just how cool it is for those players?
Yeah, Adam, I tell you, it was when I got here 12 years ago, and especially when we redid Reynolds Coliseum, I made the comment that our goal would be to someday have scalpers and, SeatGeek and all that stuff, and our tickets be in demand. And now here we are. And to be honest with you, it's a pain in the butt. I only get so many. We don't really have a pass list because every game's selling out. And I got to figure out how to, take care of a few family or friends. And but it's a good problem to have. And like you said, great atmosphere. Digger Phelps even, we were at Notre Dame a few years ago having shoot around, and he was there, and I asked him to come out and speak to our team. And he told our team, and this is before Notre Dame was obviously in the ACC, but he said Reynolds Coliseum was the toughest place we ever went into. And I think that's definitely the case now because of our fans.
Oh, there's no question. I speak to a lot of State fans that are, I guess, only half serious because they understand the seating capacity, but they want back in, not just for a one-off. They want back in. I've always said that the men should go there a couple of times a year with not a throwaway game, but a big game, and put high price tags on tickets, they would sell them all. It is an incredible place. The renovation, it's a Hall of Fame. It's a beautiful building. Wes Moore, NC State women's basketball coach, is joining us. One question really about the end of regulation, and then I just want to talk about the players who really stepped up. Now, I am not a fan of fouling to avoid a three-pointer because I think you invite a loss when you do that. But did you consider fouling, and why didn't you? And I know Citron made the shot and forced overtime. Did you consider? Why didn't you?
Yeah, we discussed it in the huddle. I mean, we were going to try to foul if they were dribbling across the top and not looking at the basket or whatever, but we just didn't get it done. And, I mean, I even went to the point of saying, okay, make sure we're slapping down on the arm, not doing anything that could draw a flagrant foul or intentional foul. But my fault is we haven't probably worked on that enough in practice. And so I need to do a better job in practice of making sure we know how to do it. But, yes, we wanted to foul there, but we didn't get it done, and that falls back on me. I got to make sure we're prepared to do that better. So we'll definitely spend a little bit of time on that in practice. It is scary, though. The thing is, in that situation, you could make the argument we could have fouled 3 times, as long as you're making sure they're not getting in the shooting motion from behind the three-point line.
Right.
But we could have put them on the foul line with a 3-point lead, made them make one, miss one, all those scenarios.
Right, but the reason I don't like it, and because I just think I'd much rather a team defend. It's not like it's a layup, right? I understand she made the shot, and maybe at the best shooters are closer to 50%, whatever.
Yeah.
But because if they make the first, miss the second, tap it out for a 3, you could lose. So that's where.
Know. Yeah, I know. I agree. And there's a lot of things to think about. I think it was last year Louisville. Had a lead, whatever, and they tried to foul late in the game, whatever. Well, the official called it an intentional foul because, again, they didn't maybe execute it perfectly. All those things come into play, and so sure enough, the kid hit both free throws. They got the ball, scored, and Louisville lost the game. And to be honest, it wasn't a very good call.
Right, I'm sure it wasn't.
Everybody in the arena knew what they were trying to do, but and that's what's scary too. And you may look back at the end of the first overtime, we were trying to foul, and we almost fouled the 3-point shooter because we kept trying to get our hands off because they caught the inbounds pass and shot immediately. So all those things. I saw the other night a men's game, a guy shot from half court. Wake Forest, Florida State.
Yeah.
Guy shooting from half court, and they call a foul on Florida State, and the guy's getting 3 free throws to tie the game. Shooting from half court. Luckily, he missed one of them. Luckily for Florida State, not for Wake Forest. But it's just you're putting it in the officials' hands to a certain degree also, and those things scare me as well.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, if they got their hand down dribbling or their back to the basket, yes, we did talk about fouling. But, again, I got to do a better job in practice of knowing how to do that.
I think you were just doing it in the interest of TV and keeping everybody riveted for another half hour. Zoe Brooks, 33-10, 3 assists, the steal, 2 blocks. Isaiah James, 20 points. By the way, Zoe also hit 14 of 14 from the free throw line. Tilda goes 8 of 9 from the field, couple of threes, 9 rebounds, so many big plays. How did you guys kind of, after the disappointment of going to overtime, how did you guys get it back together?
Well, that's the main thing, was just stressed. Hey, we're at home, 5 minutes. Of course, ended up being 10 minutes, but, let's get up, let's get it, let's get this done. And, just tried to keep them up and focused. And, we had the same thing happen last year to us. Georgia Tech hit a crazy 3. Let me tell you, that one, the girl shot it from the half-court logo. You know, the logos were big now, so it wasn't half-court. But she was near the half-court logo, and she made it left-handed.
Jeez.
And right-handed. So, you know, just like you said, it's making you more and more think about maybe we do need to put them on the foul line and take our chances with all that. But, yeah, it's disheartening. I mean, I just couldn't believe it when she made it. But we knew the kid. I mean, she's a great three-point shooter, shooting over 40%. That was one of our main keys in the game, was not to let her have spot-up threes. And that wasn't a spot-up three. The defense was really good on her, but she made it. So, yeah, we just had to, you know, we're pretty good at home. Again, we've had a great run at home, and so that's what I tried to emphasize. Hey, we're at home, 5 minutes, let's go get it done. So they did.
All right, you got one more game at home coming up against Wake Forest. How do you get back up for it?
Yeah, you know, my main thing is going to be, and again, we've had trouble this year with that. You know, we just played 5 out of 6 games against ranked opponents, 3 of them on the road, but we've not really put people away and just come out and, you know, so a game like this concerns me. My point of emphasis is going to be, hey, Notre Dame's got Duke. They've got Louisville and Florida State ahead of them. They're at home, so odds are pretty good for them. But they've got 2 really good teams coming in there. If they were to lose one of those games and we win our 2, we're ACC regular season champions. So I'm just going to keep pointing out how important these 2 games are coming up this week and how we got to take care of business. You want to keep momentum this time of year heading into March. So all those things, hopefully we can get their attention.
Wes Moore, you've got all of our attention. I appreciate your time. We didn't even have time to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and what was not a great season. Yeah. Next time we will talk about the Cowboys, although maybe we won't have time for it because you'll be doing something else spectacular and then just poo-pooing the fact that College Game Day was there.
Well, you're too nice, Adam. Thanks so much, and you know, appreciate all you guys do, and hopefully we can keep this thing rolling deep into March.
Man, it's been fun. All right, thank you so much, Coach.
Thanks, Adam.
Another team that has been good in the regular season, the Carolina Hurricanes. We're going to talk about their 4-0 first period ugliness in Toronto and more with Cory Lavalette of The Athletic and the North State Journal next.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Kevin Keats and state basketball have to do something, and I'll tell you what that is. They have to acknowledge what is happening. This season, it's a failure. That's not to say each individual player isn't working harder. There's no likable people in the program. It's just that after last season, this season, it's not enough. And they have to figure out how to fix it for next season.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Don't go through another year with all that high interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, or visit loanpronto.com. Get a free rate quote with no hard credit pull, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling, we do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling. Quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
We all want more for North Carolina. More boundless views, more adventures in the outdoors, and more clean roads to get there. But to get more, we have to do less. Less littering, that is. Make it your nature to trash your trash and keep NC clean. And we'll all have more reasons to love North Carolina. Litter less, get more. For more on the 7 outdoor NC Leave No Trace principles, visit OutdoorNC.com. Sponsored by the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters and Visit North Carolina, a part of the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina in cooperation with this station.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
It's back, folks, and it's better than ever. Who wants to win a custom Caniacs motorcycle? Dennis Cox here for Law Tigers. The Carolina Hurricanes, Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, and Shiny Side Paint are teaming up again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter. Sign-ups last until April 6th, and the bike will be given away on the final home game of the season. caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
This is Adam Gold.
But whenever you say, well, we're not using this as an excuse, no, we are. Whether it's justifiable or not can be a different discussion, but you are.
It's like the equivalent of saying no offense, but ...
Offense coming.
Yeah, get ready for it.
Look out. Here we come with some offense for you.
The Adam Gold Show.
Very optimistic from Victoria.
Yes.
Coming back from the break.
I'm glad you noticed.
First Hurricanes game in exactly a week. Started off horribly wrong.
Yikes. Toronto
was better in the details than the Hurricanes were in the first period. 4-0 deficit said everything. I really don't put any stock into somehow almost making it a game not somehow, they did. I mean, it was a one-shot hockey game with 5 minutes to play. Ridiculous. Cory Lavalette from The Athletic and North State Journal joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Were you like me at that point? It's 4-3, and Rantanen has the puck on his stick just inside the right face-off circle, with a bevy of humanity, to borrow a phrase from John Forsland, in front of the net, and you wanted him to shoot it, not pass it into the slot?
Well, I mean, first we need to address the music, because you said that's a positive song, but ever since The Sopranos ended, it's just kind of, I don't know if it's a positive song anymore.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Everything went black.
That is true. Very good point.
Yeah, I mean, I think hindsight is 20/20 on that.
Yeah.
If he shoots and it hits that, quote, bevy of humanity and bounces out of the zone, everyone's saying, why did he shoot? There was no shooting lane. So, you know, I guess we could, you know, pound the details all day long. But it's just hard to say. Hockey's such a weird sport in that way. Who knows? It could bounce off of 3 guys and go in, or it could, you know, bounce off of a guy's shin pad and go all the way down the ice and go in the other net. So, I mean, I think he's lacking a little confidence shooting the puck right now, and that's understandable because he's hit a couple posts since he's been traded.
Yep.
He's had a bunch of chances that just didn't go. And but, man, I mean, especially there was one shift in that game where he was, maybe the best shift I've seen a Hurricane play all season. So, I get the panic. I understand why people are panicked. But
that's fine. He's played well. The funny thing is that I do these, I do the post game show, and I have to come up with 3 stars. Could you come up with 3 stars for that game? I mean, I couldn't. So I thought about doing a negative 3 stars. I thought that was disrespectful. So I just went with third period 3 stars, and I gave Mikko the 2nd star because I wanted him to shoot the puck. I actually thought there was a lane to shoot it. I understand why he was passing it. There was so many bodies in front. He thought that if he can get a pass somewhere into the slot, they could just, I don't know, maybe force it in like the Philadelphia Eagles in a tush push. But the Gostisbehere was good in the third period. Like Sebastian Aho regained something in the third period, but the first period was so bad, and the second period was kind of nondescript to me. What do you attribute to, I think, the decline over the last, I'll just say, month of games in Brent Burns?
Yeah, it's been a struggle, right? I don't know if it's just the wear and tear of playing, 20 minutes a night at, approaching 40 years old or what it is, but it's a tough situation. And, the way Rod has tried to explain it is this is a different role for him. He wasn't on a shutdown pairing last year or the year before because they had Pesce and Shea, but it's been tough. I mean, the mental mistakes is the thing that stands out. It'd be one thing if we were just talking about physical, slow degradation of, losing a step and things like that. But when you start throwing the pucks in the middle of the ice in the defensive zone, stuff like that is just incomprehensible. Like, I don't understand. If anybody shouldn't be making that mistake, it's a guy with more than 20 years in the league.
Yeah, I mean, Slavin did a good job to get him the puck, after a good forecheck by Toronto, and then he just backhand blindly throws it in front, and John Tavares is just right there, and who set up, Alex Steve's first NHL goal. It wasn't good. He lost David Kampf on the third goal, too. I thought the beginning of the season for Burns, he looked quicker than he did all of last year. I thought the first 6 weeks were great. I thought he was better defensively than offensively. He's not even adding offense right now. The makeup of the blue line, Cory, is not ideal in that there's no other, Slavin might be the only partner for him, right? I mean, you can't play Burns with Orlov because Orlov has been kind of in the same boat as Burns has been lately. But if you wanted to create a shutdown pair, Slavin and Chatfield would probably do it.
Yeah, and, it's tough because you can see the path to where they're headed as a defense beyond this year and even, at the end of this year maybe, with the infusion they're going to get from Alexander Nikishin and Scott Morrow. And, I didn't think Scott Morrow did particularly much of anything when he was up.
Correct. He didn't play much.
Which is to be understood. I mean, he was playing as a seventh defenseman, and he wasn't playing in roles that he's used to playing in, like playing on the power play and things like that. So it's like, do you panic about this defense right now when you know where it's headed? We know what's coming, whether it's, it feels pretty certain that Brent Burns and Dmitry Orlov will not be back after this season.
Right.
And if you add Nikishin and you add Scott Morrow to that defense, and that's the route you go, we'll see if that's what they do, if they feel they can play two essentially rookies right off the hop. I think they probably can. You just need to figure out who fits with Slavin. Maybe it's Sean Walker to start. We'll see how that all fits out. Maybe Scott Morrow can play that role, but I think there needs to be a little more defensive polishing, and there's questions about that. But it's hard to do much of anything right now unless, would somebody take Dmitry Orlov, and can you get, the other thing about this is, when does Alexander Nikishin show up?
Sure.
We just don't know. And when he does show up, we know he's going to be a great player. Is he going to be a great player right away? History says no, Hurricanes defensemen need some time to adjust.
Right. Yes, and especially coming from the KHL, which is, I would say, probably maybe a slight level up from the AHL. You're playing against grown men and great players. I don't know. They might be comparable leagues. I think it'll be a difficult adjustment. Certainly, the speed of the game be a difficult adjustment for Nikishin. Real quick, I spoke to Tony D'Angelo not that long ago. He thinks he'll struggle initially with the pace of the game, having they were teammates over there. But he thinks that he has easily the potential to be a top pair, no worse than a top 4 defenseman in the NHL. Loves the kid's makeup, but he thinks the pace will be a little bit of a problem for him in the early goings. To me, that's the biggest problem that they've got right now. Looking forward this year is on the blue line, because they had made too many mental mistakes back there, and a lot of that is 8, and a lot of that is 7. Obviously, Slavin was so great in the Four Nations tournament. We see it all the time. But when he does it against McKinnon for 30 shifts a game, or McDavid, and he's doing it against those players all the time, it's eye-opening to see everybody go, "Oh my gosh, look how good he is!" But he is that good.
Well, and I mean, you also have to consider, I don't want to say that he has to worry about Brent Burns, but
sure he does.
Brock Faber played really well in that tournament, and all of a sudden, Jacob has a really good partner who he can trust to do the right thing. And Brent Burns knows what the right thing is, but like I said, that pass to the middle of the ice, it's not the way you want to start this post Four Nations break, is just handing the other team a goal.
Yeah, it was inexplicably bad. For 2 periods, I don't know that I've ever seen Sebastian Aho play that poorly. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, you got to wonder if there's a little bit of a dip in intensity. You've come out of that Four Nations, and now you're back into the drudgery of the NHL season. You look at the standings. It doesn't look like the Hurricanes are going anywhere in the standings. It almost feels locked in that it's going to be Devils Hurricanes at this point.
But you want to finish ahead of them.
Yeah, well, sure, yeah. But I mean, the Devils have their issues too.
They do.
So you have to wonder if that's just the mental mindset of, all right, it's time to ramp it back up and have to play at the level that's necessary. I thought it was interesting that Rod put Kotkaniemi up on the, essentially the top line. That's not something I think we've ever seen before.
No.
Is Sebastian get moved down? Which
Demoted.
Is what happened?
Yeah.
But I think I don't think you worry about him too much. It hasn't been a great season for him, and then you look at the numbers and you're like, he's a point per game player, and the power play obviously hasn't been as good lately. You mentioned Gostisbehere, and if he can get going, that's going to change everything on the power play. But yeah, not a great game for Sebastian, and knowing what he's like, he's probably, I would not, and the fact that he's going to be playing in Montreal, where it seems like he still has a little bit of extra juice for those games.
Yeah.
I would put some betting money on something for Sebastian Aho, just like I would say everybody should have put some betting money on the over for every game coming out of the Four Nations.
Oh, no question. It was always going to be a gong show. It was like the first game of the regular season. Look, Sebastian will be fine. I'm not really worried about him. We'll close on this, because I know you get into the mental dynamics of this as well. How much pressure do you think Aho is putting on Aho to get Rantanen going?
To get him going?
Rantanen has played fine. I'm not complaining about the way Mikko has played. But to get him to contribute to scoring, because we always are going to judge Mikko, the general public, by how many points, not by how many chances he creates, by how many goals he could have scored, all of that. Because he could be well over a point a game with the Hurricanes if the puck goes in a couple of times or other people put the puck in the net a few times. But I'll bet you Aho feels a lot of pressure to make that happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's unreasonable to suggest. And I think, again, I go back to the power play. If you can get going in that scenario, then everything else falls into place a little bit, right? If there's not the pressure of we have to score at 5-on-5 because our power play is horrendous right now, then, maybe things are a little more natural at 5-on-5 and you're not trying to force things quite as much. There were a few plays in the game the other night where I could, the extra pass by Dmitry Orlov, you just shake your head sometimes. Like, what is happening? We started off talking about the Rantanen one, and you could quibble about that, but there were some where I just, one thing I think I'd like to see with Rantanen is I think he and Svechnikov have a little bit of chemistry. That's putting a lot of beef on one line. But if they're going to work well together, and it's been a struggle throughout his career to get somebody who plays well with Andre, I'd say almost lean into it. You could have, if that line were to click with Aho in the middle, that would be, arguably the best line that's ever played here.
And put Rantanen on the right and let Jarvis go back and play with Stahl and Martinook, because that line has had good chemistry. I'm here for that. I am here for because I think that would be a better fit for Andre in the way his mind is wired. The other thing, I would have liked to have seen him shoot on that 2-on-1 with Jordan Stahl, although it was a great save by Anthony Stolars. Stahl didn't get a ton on that redirect, but pass was good. But I want to see Andre shoot the puck, lean into his shot a little bit more. It was good sign that he scored that one-timer goal as Carolina was out of nowhere making that a 4-3 game. Cory Lavalette, North State Journal and The Athletic, at Cory Lav on Twitter. Talk to you very soon. I'll see you Thursday.
Sounds good.
Thanks, man. Cory Lavalette here on The Adam Gold Show. When we come back, one-timers. I've got thoughts on the Hurricanes we'll get to at the top of the hour. I have a ranking of things that are troubling to me, and some of them are, I think, long-term for this year, and some of them, and they're all fixable, by the way. But we'll do that at the top of the hour. One-timers next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and we are exiting the shortest month of the year for March. And you know what that means. College basketball. And right now, new customers on FanDuel can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's right, $150 of their money to use as you see fit, as long as you win your first $5 bet. Time for you new customers to join in. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Get in on all the college hoops action before March takes over. FanDuel, 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Electricity. It's what powers our lives, from the ordinary to the extraordinary. In North Carolina, 26 local electric cooperatives provide energy to 2.8 million people across the state. But we're providing so much more than affordable, reliable power. We're helping to strengthen the people and communities that make our state great, today and for generations to come. North Carolina's electric cooperatives. Power you can count on, now and always. Learn more at ncelectriccooperatives.com.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself, but it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuitions do. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college. Whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans, it all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
A crisis moment is any moment where you feel overwhelmed and as if you aren't able alone to handle what's happening. You don't have to be alone with that feeling, and when that feeling comes is exactly when you should reach out, you should get connected, and you should be in community. We care, we listen, we help. Call, text, or chat 988 anytime.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Gold. Gold.
Some of the best trades ever made are the ones you don't make. Again, I'm sure that there are tons of stories like that.
Kind of like a relationship. Sometimes the best ones are the ones that you didn't go out with, like that person that you tried to, and then you see them 10 years later and you're like, ooh, dodged a bullet.
So you sound like you've been there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. R.I.P. Roberta Flack, who passed away today.
I know. 88.
Yeah. This is a great track.
It is.
Lauryn Hill's remake is awesome.
The Fugees is
That's it.
my
Right, it was the
go-to,
Fugees, but
yes, but it's a great song.
classic.
It's a great karaoke song.
Yeah, I've never karaoke'd this. I wouldn't karaoke this. But I
Maybe
do like
car
the song.
karaoke?
I do sing it in the barn.
Oh,
So,
yeah, there you
but I
go.
wouldn't karaoke it. All right, and I will admit also the Fugees version is the one I go to as well.
Yes.
It's just incredible. I
Yeah.
love Wyclef's part in that as well.
So good.
All right, let's one timer.
Okay, so we actually have a couple from our listeners. So starting on the YouTube stream, we had one earlier when Wes Moore was on about Wes Moore. So your take, where would you rank Wes Moore among coaches at NC State all time with the success he continues to have?
Are we talking about women's basketball coaches or overall?
Well, they did also add he should get the Coach K type contract, so maybe overall.
Man, Wes Moore is awesome. He's a great basketball coach. He's a better person. He is very affable, and I think has everything in perspective. I don't know how to rank him, where I put him in terms of NC State coaches all time, but for my money, I've been here more than 25 years. He's on a very short list with Elliott Avent. Serious. Very short list with Elliott Avent as the best coaches and program runners that the university has had.
All right. Well, another one from on Twitter. You can tweet me your one-timers. This is coming from our friend Mojo Coach. So with baseball season right around the corner, Who are your picks to win National League and American League?
Oh, gee. I don't even know who's on teams yet, dude. Juan Soto hit a home run, I think, in his first Grapefruit League at bat. I don't know if it was official at bat. It might have been an inter-squad game. I don't know. Give me Juan Soto to hit 700 home runs this year. That's my pick right now. I have no idea who's good. Dodgers.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The Pack Therapy Podcast is in session thanks to First Horizon Bank. Tim Donnelly here, host of The Drive, alongside Wolfpack legend Casey Morcell.
Every episode is your chance to score inside information on the Pack.
We'll set you up for Wolfpack games all season long.
And we break down the ACC competition, what to watch for as we roll towards the tournament madness.
Plus special guests to keep Wolfpack hope alive.
Follow and subscribe to Pack Therapy wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
Bonuses used to be everywhere. Boxes of cereal, a baker's dozen, airline upgrades, even without quadruple diamond platinum status. Life is better with a bonus. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery is adding bonus chances to multiply your win on Multiply the Cash scratch-offs. More chances than ever to win over $140 million in total prizes. Because everything is better with a bonus. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.31 to 4.86. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Whether you're fixing up a room or tackling a full-scale remodel, Habitat for Humanity Restores have a huge selection of high-quality building materials at a fraction of the cost of regular retail, like new and reclaimed flooring and cabinets, tile, doors, and windows, lumber, and more. Come shop our treasure trove of building materials and save big bucks on your next project. Plus, your purchase helps Habitat build homes in our community. Visit Habitat Restores in Durham, Raleigh, Clayton, or go online to learn more at trianglerestores.org.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's. If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers. Learn more at parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires purchase of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Minute 25 to go first half. Heels up 10.
RJ, step back three-pointer is online, but too strong. Long rebound chased down by Withers. Now he'll try a three. Yes! He got the rebound, just strolled out to the right wing and banged it home. Powell inside the arc on the left wing, over to RJ Davis. He's going to drive hard by Robinson, draw the foul, and get the bucket to go. Jackson spins into the paint, hangs, shoots, no good. Withers hits the rebound, Washington, but it's blocked. Withers there again, puts it up and in. What effort by Jalen Withers.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Jalen Withers, another big game. 4 in a row, something like that. Actually played well in the game at Duke, too. Although, kind of hard to say anybody played well for the Tar Heels that day. It was such a blowout. But North Carolina has won 3 in a row. Said it before. I'll say it again. You might not have to do as much as you think, Carolina, to make the NCAA tournament. Right now, I believe they're in 6th place in the standings, which would put them in a bracket more than likely that will not feature Duke until an ACC championship game. And I think if Carolina wins twice at the ACC tournament, one of those will be a quad 1 win, top 50, because one of those would come against either Clemson or Louisville. And frankly, one might also be SMU, to be honest. And if you can secure a quad 1 win or 2, then that would give you even more of an opportunity, even if you don't beat Duke at all. And they might go 0-3 against the Blue Devils this year if that's what it comes down to. But if you win the 3 games before Duke, you win twice at the ACC tournament, that'll give you 21 wins. I know, it's still not that impressive. Probably still end up in the first 4, but you can get in. And for them, that should be the goal. Real quick to NC State, we're going to talk about all these things with Brian Geisinger coming up in a little bit. State is still trying to make the ACC tournament. They are 1 win shy of, now they have 4, right? They're 1 win shy of tying Syracuse. That's got to come on Wednesday. Must. It's an absolute must that they beat Syracuse on Wednesday. As a matter of fact, I'll say it. If they don't win that game Wednesday, lights out. Nothing's good. They will not. I think they can win 3 of their last 4. But they have to win on Wednesday. Have to. You lose that, you lose the tiebreaker with another team that is in that general area. You already lose the tiebreaker with Cal because you lost twice to them. Yeesh. Cal's also in 5 wins. You do have the tiebreaker with Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's win this weekend, I believe, got them to 6 wins, and therein lies the problem. But State's sitting on 4. You've got Syracuse and Cal on 5, and you have an opportunity to get even but ahead of Syracuse if you win that game Wednesday, because the tiebreaker would go to you, albeit, though, when you're breaking a tie with 3 teams, its combined record and the 2 losses certainly aren't good. They need at least 2 wins, maybe 3, but I think they can get them. All right, we are going to get back to basketball. We'll talk about Duke's win over Illinois as well with Brian Geisinger coming up in about 15 minutes. Right now, let's run it back. I want to spend some time with the Carolina Hurricanes here. I know we talked about it with Cory Lavalette last hour, but a couple of things, and I want to, before we get to some of the my bullet points of problems for the Hurricanes in ranked order, let's start with Rod Brindamore from Saturday night after the game against the Maple Leafs on the defensive breakdowns that led to the poor first period.
Well, we made some poor puck decisions, and then, just losing coverage, like getting light on guys. That's what I mean. They just kind of have my guy. No, you don't, and then it's in your net. And they got a couple bounces, some weird ones, right? But that's that's kind of what happens when you don't manage the puck properly.
All right, so 2 things specific to what he said. 1, poor decision with the puck. That was Burns passing the puck right out in front of the net to John Tavares. I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I don't think that's wise. So that didn't work out well. Then on the third goal, he has David Kampf, who's a fourth liner, but he kind of drifts a little away from him, getting focused on the puck rather than playing the man, and it comes back to Kampf in the slot. That's a goal. Like, the worst part about that, believe it or not, was the fact that the top line, Aho, Rantanen, and Jarvis, got beat by Toronto's fourth line for that goal, including a really good play by our old friend Steven Lorentz, who got the better of Seth Jarvis. So there was a lot of blame to go around on that goal, but there you go. Second goal and the fourth goal, they're not entirely on Pyotr Kochetkov, but I think that a top goalie doesn't allow both of those. So it was a terrible first period that they could have gotten away down 2-0, and it doesn't seem as grave as 4-0. And yet, at the end, there was still a chance. Did he consider, after the first period, making a goalie change?
Well, that's not really what we needed to do. We had our little TV timeout, and we send a message that way, and I mean, the goalie played good after that. I mean, that's not on him. That's a cop-out. They're changing the goalie at that point when it's not on him. So that's why we didn't do that.
Rod does not pull goalies a lot. He does not. And I get why he didn't in the case of Kochetkov. Like, I don't really blame him on the second goal. I thought it was a poor rebound to allow, but I don't really blame him on the second goal. The fourth, he was just out of position. And he was out of position because Carolina defensively was a mess. But he shouldn't have been out of the frame of the goal. He had no chance to get back for the goal. Anyway, by the way, that was John Tavares' 30th career goal against the Hurricanes. Yeah, in 60 games.
Yay.
30 goals in 60 games against the Hurricanes. All right. So I thought, and I did this on the podcast, Canes Corner podcast, wherever you get your podcast, live on YouTube about 45 minutes after every game. Here are my concerns about the team with now 25 regular season games remaining, starting tomorrow night in Montreal. I am concerned for the first time, legitimately concerned about the blue line. I know what social media is. I get mad at it and I lash out at it, but it is what it is. For 6 weeks, Brent Burns was really good defensively. He has never been good offensively this year at all. But for 6 weeks, he was really good defensively. He's still really good defensively on the penalty kill, which is odd. He's got more pass deflections than all but 3 NHL blue liners. First on that list, by the way, is Jacob Slavin. So he has done a number of good things. But boy, has he given the puck away a ton. Like, several times over the last month of games, Burns will make a good defensive play, then give the puck away. And I'm like, if we didn't just give the puck right back to them, that would have been a great play. Instead, it's like we're just kind of delaying the inevitable here. So Burns needs to improve that level of his game. If he can do that, if he can get rid of the giveaways, then I actually think that Carolina will be fine with Slavin and Burns. But right now, that ain't happening. Dmitry Orlov's game also has vanished for me. Vanished. I don't know what's going on with Orlov. I don't know. Again, for both players, Orlov isn't quite as old as Burns is. Burns will turn 40, I believe, next month? Either next month or in April. But I think within the frame of the regular season, Orlov isn't nearly that old, but both players look like they might be pretty much at the sell-by date.
March 9th is
for
Brent's.
Burns.
Yep.
40 years old, March 9th. And those are two major cogs of your top four. So I don't know what's going to happen with how Carolina is set up. I do think on home ice you might start seeing some Slavin and Chatfield just to minimize some of the exposure of Burns. But it all depends on the team and the game and how it's going. And I know people are going to go, well, it's the streak. Brent Burns isn't coming out of the lineup to end a consecutive games streak. It's not doing that. He's not doing that. But he might do well with not playing 21 minutes a night. Can Sean Walker bump up there? Maybe. But then you're putting Shane Gostisbehere and Brent Burns together. Problem with the Carolina Hurricanes on the blue line right now is that there's only two players who are strictly defensive-minded. Slavin and Chatfield. Everybody else is either 50-50 or more geared towards offense. Gostisbehere, Burns, Orlov, Walker. They could use a defensive-minded defenseman, especially one who is a right shot, just to provide some cover. But I've been saying that for a while. All right, defense is concerning to me. Power play, which I believe is more about the forward group than the quarterback, meaning either Burns or Gostisbehere. I think it's the forward group. There's not as much player movement as they need. The puck movement hasn't been as fast, not necessarily utilizing behind the net. And the bumper, there's a lot of seam pass attempts, and they have too many passes to get open looks. They need to move players and pucks faster. And I think it's confidence, and they're trying. And by the way, also, when you trade Martin Necas, you trade your one-man zone entry. He's just too good getting the puck in the zone, and right now Carolina is missing that. So let's just set that aside. They've got more shorthanded goals in the calendar year 2025 than power play goals. No bueno. So power play is concerning to me. I understand we're not blaming Pyotr Kochetkov for the game. Wasn't his fault. He did play well after the first period. But the goaltending hasn't been as good as it needs to be. That's my third. In that order, defense, power play, goaltending. And maybe goaltending is in front of power play, to be honest. But those are my three concerns going forward this year. If the blue line self-corrects, or if they correct it, if the power play improves, and goaltending doesn't need to be great, it just can't be what we've seen the last. I really thought that when Anderson came back, it would make everything better. Anderson hasn't been quite as good, and Kochetkov has not been. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been good enough, and that has to get better for Carolina if they're going to have a long run. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win plenty of games. They might even stay ahead of the Devils for second place in the Metropolitan Division, because the Devils have their own issues. But we're all thinking about a long-term playoff run, a long playoff run. And those three things need to get better for that to happen. Because right now, as currently playing, right now, if they won a first-round playoff series, I would consider that a major success. Major. If the way they are playing right now, and it's going to be against New Jersey in the first round, it would be a major success. And I don't think anybody really wants that to be the major success of this season. I am not as concerned as some others about Mikko Rantanen. I don't believe they'll trade him. I believe they always looked at this as a long-term, but they are trying to sign him as soon as possible. I didn't think they would put on a full-court press during the season, but I think they are, if for no other reason than to stop the talk. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. Brian Geisinger will talk some hoops with him. Duke absolutely curb-stomped Illinois at the Garden. Can we take anything out of it because it was such a laugher? And we'll talk about the Pack and the Heels and maybe a little bit about the Deeks. Next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Kevin Keats and state basketball have to do something, and I'll tell you what that is. They have to acknowledge what is happening. This season, it's a failure. That's not to say each individual player isn't working harder. There's no likable people in the program. It's just that after last season, this season, it's not enough. And they have to figure out how to fix it for next season.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger. And future stronger you can get started now by saving $28 or more when you join today. You in? We have all the best in-class equipment you could ever need to keep stepping it up. And free fitness training to help you mix up your routine. Plus, most clubs are open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends February 28th. See Home Club for details.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
What would you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. You can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen. The average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760, LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant and home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Tired of wandering the aisles of those big box stores, struggling to find the help you need? At Home Outlet, we do things differently. First, we guarantee the lowest price on kitchens, baths, floors, and more. Find it cheaper somewhere else, we'll beat it by 10%. Second, we're employee owned. Yep, the folks helping you design your dream kitchen actually own the place. You're not just another customer to us, you're the customer. So why deal with the other stores? Break up with the big box and upgrade to Home Outlet. Find a location near you at homeoutlet.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
The next disaster is coming. Make a plan. Keep extra medication on hand. Make copies of important documents. Stay informed and be ready. Learn more at americares.org/sendusin.
Gold. Gold.
Was the hug because of the soft, fuzzy thing you're wearing?
It's a compliment. I'm a great hugger. People like to hug me. But yes, it's helpful when I'm soft and fuzzy.
Is that a skill?
It may be, yes.
I think it is a skill.
I think it is a skill.
Yeah.
You know who else gives really great hugs? Mike Meniscalco.
Really?
He is one of my favorite huggers. Yes. Every time I see him, he gives the best hugs.
I'm going to try that at the next home game.
Do it.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. We are available on YouTube every day. We are there right now, youtube.com/Adam Gold Show. Like, subscribe, comment in the chat box. Victoria tells me what's going on there. We used a couple of questions in one-timers. We would love to involve you in this program, just like we like to bring on Brian Geisinger, basketball brainiac, 24/7 Sports, Buzzbeat Podcast, Pack Pride, everywhere. Sir, thank you very much. It was a rare 3-for-3 triangle ACC weekend. We don't have a lot of those, especially since State hasn't won a lot of games and Carolina's been meh. But I want to start at Madison Square Garden outside the league. What does Duke get out of an absolute, utter annihilation of a good Illinois team, although I don't think they were at full strength? But, man, that was a laugher. What do you get out of that other than scaring everybody else?
Yeah, we like to see 180 degrees of victory here in the Triangle with all three lighting up with W's. We love it. I think, for starters, I know Illinois is without one of their better players, Morez Johnson. He was a backup at the 4 and 5 for them, best rim protector on their roster. But Duke also playing without one of its best players, Malik Brown, arguably the best defender in the country. And, they just absolutely detonate on Illinois. I would say it showed that they have the ability to go at another really tall team that also plays defense a certain way. I've talked about this a few different times, but the way Illinois wants to play deep drop coverage with their center, way back in the paint guarding pick and roll. And I thought Tyrese Proctor did a really nice job getting downhill on that. I thought Cooper Flagg was able to, hook up with Kaman Malawach in the pick and roll and sort of manipulate that space a few times. One of the other takeaways I would pull from it too, and this is maybe an easy place to start just without Malik. They're missing a guy at the center spot with Patrick Gongba coming off the bench, and it's no secret this guy's really good.
Yeah.
He's a well thought of recruit. In the spurts of play we've seen him in this season, he's been very good. But a big piece of Duke's offense when Malawach is not in the game, and so they don't quite have that the lob, the above the rim lob threat, but they like to play through the high post a lot too. And Malik Brown is such a good passer. And how many times have you seen him dime up?
Yes.
Deion James or Tyrese Proctor or Isaiah Evans with these cut finishes. And they started running that same stuff through Gongba quite successfully. Isaiah Evans got multiple looks off of that stuff. So just being able to have that second unit come off the bench and have guys like Gongba and Evans that you can run the offense through and for is huge. And it's look, I know Illinois, they're a little banged up. Obviously, the flu has been running through the team. Everyone go get your flu shots in the fall. Maybe do that. But this team is no slouch. This is a top 20, 25 team according to the efficiency margins. There's multiple NBA players on the roster. There's at least one first round pick with Yakachonis, but also maybe Will Riley too. And Duke just blitzed them. This game was a laugher. And I know Illinois had a tough shooting game too, but I still think Duke did enough stuff to really impact its will and showed off some of the young guys off the bench with Evans and Gongba that I think make this game light up as a real positive for them.
I remember a time where Isaiah Evans wasn't going to be part of the rotation, and he has been excellent. He's not always excellent, right? It's not like you're going to get 13 points off the bench from Isaiah Evans, but with that game against Auburn earlier in the season where he hit 6 threes in the first and really won the game, he has been a threat at all times, instant offense off the bench. I think the other aspects of his game are getting better. I thought it was a good Caleb Foster game, even though a lot of it came in junk time. He knocked down, looked smooth shooting the ball, and he will be needed going forward. They're going to have him as an option, especially if you get a guy in foul trouble, that Caleb Foster becomes a big part. But Sion James has been, I saw an interview with John Shire over the weekend, and he called Sion James our point guard. I don't know that anybody expected that at the beginning of the season. They thought it was going to be Foster and Proctor, but it is Sion James. He is the point guard, and he makes it look easy getting to the basket. I don't think he's an elite finisher, but he's so strong that he certainly gets the ball up on the rim, and he's good. I think he's a good finisher, but I just think getting to the basket with the way he does it, I just think sets everything else up for their offense.
Yeah, he's awesome. Sion's a pro. His play, his activity in conference play, I mean, the numbers are crazy. In just ACC play alone, 63 assists, 17 turnovers, shooting 48% on threes, 54% on twos, and 90% from the line. I mean, he's 50-40-90 with a almost 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Like, he's just been awesome. His rim pressure is a big deal for them. I think coming into the season, that was one of the sort of concerns with this team, and maybe even now it's still, to an extent, it lingers some. But I just think Flagg has proven to be, he's lived up to the expectations. He's such a good creator. He's a good passer. He gets to the rim. He's a constant source of pressure in the paint. Malawatch is like a lob guy, a pressure point on the rim. I think Proctor has shown growth. You know what I mean? But that was something that he and Foster, as productive as they had been in their prior seasons with Duke, had not shown it was sort of like the one fly in the ointment for Proctor. I wouldn't say it's like a strength now, but you could even see him like attacking downhill a little bit against and certainly against Illinois, and certainly Knipple has helped with that. But no one has the combination of James in terms of like speed and strength. And I really like especially when he gets the ball like in like kind of like an open floor, situation, and he catches the ball and he'll like size up a defender for a second, and you'll see him just be like, you can see the light bulb go on in his head, like, oh, I could take this guy.
Yeah.
And it's just a boom, boom, crossover. Use his shoulder to clear some space and, create contact and probably get the finish too. I mean, he's been outstanding. I don't know how many, I think I've said this probably a few other times on your show, Gold, but like some NBA team is going to get him this offseason, a smart team, a team that drafts well, your Memphis, Houston, Boston, like a team that really prioritizes like decision-making and strength on the wing.
Yeah.
Like James is certainly is their point guard, but like, this offense is so, like, decentralized from a playmaking standpoint. Like, especially when Malik Brown is in the game, like, all five guys can handle the ball. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And obviously Cooper. I mean, Cooper is the de facto 4 for them, but, he probably leads them in time of possession and, usage rate, that kind of stuff, too. So James absolutely is that. He is the one. But he's obviously great playing without the basketball, too, and that's certainly what helps guys like Proctor and Knipple and Flagg when all of those guys are, operating on the ball.
And with all the shots that don't go to Sion James, 48% from 3 in ACC play. You said 90% from the line in conference play. He gets to the line. 54% from 2. I mean, he's just an incredible player, and all the other stuff that he does is so good. I still think, and I want to move on to the Wolfpack here. I still think Duke lacks just a little bit of explosion on the wing, and I think that will be difficult for them when ball movement goes away. I go back to the state game when Duke's their ball movement wasn't good, and they had very few assists in that game. They had 28 assists at the Garden against Illinois. They had 10 guys with an assist, 8 players with at least 2. It was mind-blowing. But when the ball movement goes away and they become a one-on-one basketball team, that's where I think they lose their way offensively. I think that's what happened at Clemson. That's what happened against Kansas. That's what happened against Kentucky, and they ultimately turned the ball over late in those wins. But when they move the ball like that, it mitigates the lack of one guy on the wing who can absolutely get to the cup and finish. Let me talk about the Wolfpack. So did you have Paul McNeil starting in the game?
Not starting, but like ever since they went out west, the Cal and Stanford game, I mean, that was just like Look, I love the Bay Area. That's as sad of a trip as you can have to go out to the Bay, is, you know, what NC State went through a few weeks ago. But to me, it was during that swing. I think I said this on one of the Pac Pride postgame pods, that it was just time to commit 20 minutes a game to him and say 8 to 12 minutes a half he's playing. And that guy, he should just know that that's going to be, you know, on the table for him, so he can sort of like be ready and feel comfortable with that role as a, you know, a shooter and a guy that probably wants some rhythm and some confidence coming into things. And that's ultimately why it was like disappointing that he only played, you know, 1 minute in that Boston College game after he picked up 2 quick fouls. But look, man, he was awesome in this game on Saturday, and it just goes to show you, like, if you're playing a defense like Wake Forest, if NC State's playing a defense like Wake Forest that's going to hedge ball screens with Efton Reed and Trayvon Spillers and put 2 on the ball, Michael O'Connell's a quick decision maker. Ben Middlebrooks is good on the short roll, and you know, Dontrez Styles and Paul McNeil can really shoot it. You know, and like all of a sudden you've got the recipe to have, you know, State's best offensive game of the season by a fair amount, I would say.
Oh, there's no question. And you mentioned Styles. Styles was great, aggressive, hunted his shot all game. I thought the best thing that McNeil did early was the offensive rebounding and the decision-making, right? All 4 of his rebounds came on the offensive end, but I thought that set the tone for him and them early on in that game. Makes me wonder why we can't get both freshmen on the court at the same time. I know Trey Parker hasn't played that well of late, but I like guys who don't look scared in the big moments, and I think both of those guys fit the bill.
They have. And I mean, like, again, Parker, unfortunately, he got in. I think it's the first play of the game he had against Wake. He had a bad turnover where Styles, you know, sort of like shook further up the wing, and he threw it sort of like closer to the corner, and it went, you know, right to Wake's bench basically. But I think look, there's a lot to like about McNeil. He is clearly like a more like physical driver than you might think, is for a guy that's like built as a shooter. He's got good size. He obviously like has this sort of like, you know, knack for getting on the offensive glass a little on these like long rebounds, and even had some putback finishes, I think, against Louisville the other week too. But I think the thing that jumps the most for me is like he knows how to play without the ball, and clearly has a good feel for the game. I thought like one of the defining plays, one of the game sealing moments from the Wake game was where they Wake double teams either Styles or Middlebrooks in the post. You know, it's about 3-4 minutes to go in the game. I think it was Styles. He spins baseline. McNeil cuts down from the left corner to the opposite side of the paint. He catches the pass from Styles and then immediately, like, you know, eyes in the back of his head, spins and kicks it out to O'Connell for a catch and shoot 3 on the left wing. I mean, that's big time stuff. That's not just, you know, standing around the arc, catch and shoot. That's not just getting out in transition and, you know, finishing on the break. Like, that is an understanding for like how to play the game of basketball and how to like do the right things. And just, man, it was really impressive. Obviously he had a great game, and the step back shooting and all that stuff looks really cool. But I just thought his ability to like move with a purpose off the ball and get himself into some good situations was notable. And I mean, look, State staff put him in a good spot too. They ran the one play how many times where he screens for Middlebrooks goes up and sets a ball screen for O'Connell. O'Connell dribbles right. You know, Middlebrooks dives. McNeil sort of like leaks back up, you know, atop the arc. I mean, they got good stuff off that all game against the hedge from Wake. So big time game for Paul McNeil. And yeah, let's just see if, you know, he can kind of keep it going down the back half of the season.
Well, he should be fresh. He hadn't played a ton this year. Must-win game Wednesday in Syracuse. They're not making the ACC tournament without winning that game. Let me get to the Tar Heels real quick before I let you go. Brian Geisinger is joining us, basketball brainiac, our hoop head. By the way, split the action on Substack. You must. So Jalen Withers has had a rebirth somewhere in the middle of the season. He went on walkabout. But his game has obviously come back. He is on like a 3 or 4 game heater right now. Might have started playing well at Duke, one of the few guys who did play pretty well over at Cameron Indoor Stadium. So what does he do? Like, are these empty calories, these games where Carolina obviously since the Clemson game, because they haven't played any good competition. Virginia's no good. They still have some, they have to win the next 3 for sure before Duke. Can't lose any of them. But does he add a dimension that they didn't have before, and is this transferable going forward?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the last 3 games against teams that are sort of like fringe top 100 teams in the country.
Right.
Syracuse, State, UVA. Withers has started the last 4 games, but in the last 3 games with Withers on the court, 120 minutes. UNC's plus 45. They've outscored opponents by 45 points.
Right.
They've scored 133.4 points per 100 possessions in those minutes too. They've shot it well, and they've really gotten on the offensive glass. It's a small sample. The competition is so at best. But I think it speaks to the fact that, one, he's a good athlete to have on the floor, he's rangy, veteran, but also so he allows you, when he's shooting it like this, he allows you to get more shooting and playmaking, on the court, while also still having some size, because you could play him next to Washington or Lubin, at the 5. But just really what it means to have a stretch 4 into this lineup. I think ultimately that was supposed to be what Kate Tyson was this season for them. Some stretch in the front court. Unless he's getting to play the zone of NC State, the vaunted Wolfpack zone. He's really struggled this season. Right. And so for Withers to come in and give them that component, while also still having, being a guy that can impact defense, because he's 5th-year senior, athletic, rangy, good size. That's a really – every team could use a 6'9" guy that's going to hit 55% of his threes, And so I'm sure at some point that'll come back down to earth.
Right.
But in the meantime, it's definitely a good thing to ride. I think it allows Drake Powell to settle into some better spot. He gets to play on the wing a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But having to be just a spacer at the 4 for them. It helps open things up for Davis and Cadeau and Trimble. So yeah, it's totally additive. You know what I mean? When he's going to shoot the ball like that.
Yeah. I also thought interesting that Ian Jackson and Seth Trimble both came off the bench. Not tons of minutes for Trimble. I'd like to see Seth play more, because I think they need him defensively, especially with Cadeau and R.J. Davis really not playing great games against Virginia, statistically speaking. The floor games are probably better overall, but you need more. You need more perimeter from both of those guys. And I thought remember the game now. Whoever they just, I guess it was State. I thought Seth Trimble was the best player for Carolina against the Wolfpack.
He was awesome in that game. Just the parts of his game that make him special, the athleticism, the cut finishing, the body control,
the attitude,
all of that stuff. Yeah, he was awesome in that game, no doubt.
I'm a big Seth Trimble fan. Hopefully, Tar Heels can win the next 3, and then we have a little bit of fun coming up at the end of the regular season over in Chapel Hill against Duke. Brian Geisinger at @BGeis_Bird on Twitter. Brian is also on Blue Sky. Split the Action on Substack. Get it, enjoy it, digest it, become a smarter basketball fan. Sir, talk to you next week.
Yeah, you guys take care.
You got it. Brian Geisinger here on the Adam Gold Show. I learn so much about the game with Brian stuff. So much about the game. If you want to be a smarter basketball fan, you stick with BG. All right, real quick, I just want to expand a little bit on what I think from Seth Trimble. And look, I'm not blaming Hubert Davis. You got lineup issues, and if Jalen Withers is going to play well, then Jalen Withers needs to play. And I do think that Davis looks at his team and he goes, man, we're too tiny. We can't play Davis, Cadeau, Trimble a lot. I can't start that way and have Drake Powell as a 4 and Van Allen Lubin. I have to get bigger. And Withers allows them to get bigger when you're playing Powell more as a wing and Withers as a 4, and Vin Allen Lubin as your de facto 5, even though, man, when you look at those guys, I mean, if Vin Allen Lubin is taller than 6'6", I'll be surprised. But he is a bigger body anyway. But they needed size. My only worry about, and it's not really a worry, Withers has definitely made them better. It's hard to judge based on the competition because Carolina is a legitimate top 50 team, and the 3 wins of late are not. We'll just be kind and say not. I don't know if Withers changes their calculus defensively, and that's where I think North Carolina is most vulnerable. They don't defend the defensive boards all that well. They have trouble with size and bulk up front. And because their backcourt is small, like the matchup with Duke, that's a tough one. Because Duke has nobody small. Anywhere. There's nobody small on Duke's team. The smallest guy they've got that plays is Foster at like 6'5". That's the smallest guy. Who guards Zion James? Zion James towers over R.J. Davis or Elliot Cadeau. You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, James is a legit 6'6". We've joked. When Brian said before that Zion James is a pro, you know what I thought in my head? He might be an NFL pro.
Yeah.
No, like, he's not.
Right. He could be Julius Peppers.
Well, honestly, in 2002, I was in Lexington, Kentucky covering Duke. And I'm trying to remember who Duke played in the Sweet 16. It was Illinois. They lost that game. The game before the Indiana. The game before Duke, Indiana was Kent State playing somebody. I forget who Kent State was playing. And Kent State's power forward in that game was just inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, Antonio Gates. I watched Antonio Gates play basketball. I never knew he was a football player. I'm not sure he played football at Kent State.
Yeah.
I watched him and went, man, that's a hell of a basketball player. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, how did that happen? So I'm not saying that's Zion James. But James has shoulders. He is slapped together. So I joked with Manny Diaz about a month ago. We talked to Manny about Duke's season, and he laughed, but he goes, "Man, if he ever wanted to, we'd find a spot for him."
Yeah, make room.
He is a tremendous basketball player, but boy, is he built.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. I mean, he could run over R.J. Davis or Elliot Cadeau. Proctor is tall, long, great wingspan, to use that NBA term. Duke's so big and so good. It's a tough matchup for UNC. But Jalen Withers has been excellent of late. So let's let it continue. Again, win 3. I don't care what happens against Duke. Win your first 2 at the ACC tournament. I don't care what happens after that. North Carolina would find itself, by the way, in the final if they win twice. Right? Final? No. Semifinal if they win twice at the ACC tournament. I think if they got that far, especially if 1 or 2 of those wins are quad ones, and they probably would be, I think North Carolina find themselves in the NCAA tournament. All right, we'll come back. We will stretch and place bets next.
From the heels,
touchdown Carolina,
to the canes,
she scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold for my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just beginning on FanDuel. Again, America's #1 sportsbook, because FanDuel's your home for live NBA betting. So even if you miss the start of the game, you're not out of luck. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join. New customers get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. FanDuel, make every moment more. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Electricity. It's what powers our lives, from the ordinary to the extraordinary. In North Carolina, 26 local electric cooperatives provide energy to 2.8 million people across the state. But we're providing so much more than affordable, reliable power. We're helping to strengthen the people and communities that make our state great, today and for generations to come. North Carolina's electric cooperatives. Power you can count on, now and always. Learn more at ncelectriccooperatives.com.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself. But it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuitions do. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college. Whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans, it all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
This is Adam Gold.
Frankly, I'm not sure that there is a sport that we could theoretically even put in the Olympics that isn't. I said bowling. Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Croquet? Lawn darts?
I'm waiting for cornhole.
Oh, there's somebody that thinks, yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Next hour, Wolfpack legend and the current head coach of the Lions of Lincoln University, Julius Hodge. They are the third seed, I believe, in the CIAA tournament, which will be played in Baltimore this year. and I think they start play in the middle of the week, but we will talk to the Jules coming up in about 25 minutes. Looking forward to that. Right now, it is time to stretch.
Okay, so I know that we place our bets after we stretch here, but this is kind of combining the two because I was reading a story about some poor guy in Pennsylvania. Last month, so in Pennsylvania, you can go to these places and gamble if you want to, obviously. Now, this guy in Pennsylvania, I guess, had some really bad luck at a casino, and so earlier this month, he banned himself, which Pennsylvania has this thing where you can, quote, have a self-exclusion list, which allows people, I know, I had no idea. It allows people who may think that they have a potential gambling problem to block themselves from betting. And
Interesting.
Right. It's like rehab. You can voluntarily ban yourself from the casino, online gambling, or even the fantasy sports out there. And you can do it in different increments. So you can do it for a month, a year, or forever. And this guy thought, okay, I've got a problem. I need to do this forever. So he banned himself for life from this particular casino.
Interesting.
However, terrible timing for him because he must have placed a bet for the future, and then it came through because he won the jackpot. Just for $57,000. The only problem is that he can never get it because he banned himself from said casino.
That is unfortunate.
I know, because
can he apply to lift his own ban?
Apparently not. In this article, it's saying that he's
come on,
that he will be cited for trespassing at the casino if he goes to claim his money.
So what's the problem? What could that cost?
I don't know.
Should be able to buy your way out of that.
I know. You got $57,000.
Take it to the judge.
If it's 20, then not so bad. But
Take it to the judge.
This poor Pennsylvania guy. So I didn't realize that was a thing, but it's definitely a thing. I can't believe that he only did it. That he did it for life. I mean, it must be bad if it's for life.
Hysterical.
Yeah, that's terrible timing. Terrible timing. Another thing that makes you go, okay. In France, more gambling as we lead into place your bets. In France, earlier this month, I don't know what was going on in the air earlier, a month ago, but two thieves basically stole a man's backpack that had his wallet in it. Well, the thieves then went to a convenience store, bought cigarettes and scratch-offs. Well, they actually ended up winning what's an equivalent of $500,000 of American money in France. But they used the guy's wallet, his card, to buy said scratch-off that they stole. So they can't claim the ticket because they stole some guy's credit card using it to buy said scratch-off.
Crime doesn't pay, people.
However, get this. This is the kicker. The guy who had his backpack stolen, he said that he is willing to split the earnings with the thieves, and he will not press charges if they come forward. If they give him all of his stuff from the backpack and half the winnings, so around $250,000, he will wash his hands of it and ignore like it never happened. Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
I know.
I think it's a good idea.
I know.
I'm thinking about it. I'm good with it.
He even has a lawyer involved who said that they risk nothing by coming forward. However, I don't know how legit that would be with the law afterward.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But yeah, that's on the table. He hasn't heard anything yet, but they've got 30 days because in France you got to cash it in 30 days.
Oh wow, you get a year, I think, in the United States, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So,
wow.
Yeah. Speaking of bets.
Place your bets.
Really
Place
good.
your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir.
What a dilemma.
I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. It's a full moon or something. I don't know.
All right, let's go. Let's see if we can win.
All right, well, on the ice today, I'm going with the two games. San Jose Sharks are going to be in Winnipeg taking on the Jets. Obviously, I think the Jets are going to win this easily.
Yeah.
Give me the over also, 5.5. That's only plus 107, but I'll take it.
Like, I'm going to stay away from the game. Winnipeg should win. They could win that game 5-0, right?
Yes.
So we're going to have a little fun here. Kyle Connor, who was not really used in the Four Nations face-off, matter of fact, was a healthy scratch in the championship game for the United States. Kyle Connor, 2 goals, plus 600.
Ooh. Well, the next one, last one, the Vegas Golden Knights in LA taking on the Kings. This one could maybe go either way, so I'm just going to do anytime goal scorer Jack Eichel, plus 185.
All right, now, Carolina is on the road at Florida State. We might only have time for this one. Carolina at Florida State on the road. This was 2.5. Tar Heels a 2.5-point favorite this morning. It has gone up to 3.5. Carolina, give the points under 155.5 for the total.
I like it.
Plus 233. I think the Tar Heels win this game comfortably tonight. And that will be 4 in a row for UNC. Wall of Sound next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And do you know what Saturday is? March. Saturday is March, and March is college basketball month, don't you know? But March could start tonight for North Carolina at Florida State, Monday night basketball. And right now, new customers on FanDuel can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Tar Heels will win their 4th in a row tonight and cover the 2.5. $150 of their money that you can use if you win your first $5 wager, new customers. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. It's almost March. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Listen for the... Check in for the
Beautiful back cut and a two-hand jam.
Don't miss the
Race to the other end. Get ready for the show.
What was that?
A reverse pull-up. My goodness. Hubbard got hit, and he made the shot.
You're home for the Final Four from San Antonio.
Cooper got it to rattle home.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
A new game has landed in North Carolina. Officials are calling this new species of game Cash Pop. So easy to play, it's out of this world. Reports confirm you just pick and match one number to win up to $2,500. With 5 drawings every day, cash landings have been cited across the state. So be on the lookout for Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The wins are out there. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds chart at nclottery.com for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Is that a new Samsung Galaxy A15 5G?
Yeah, I got it for free when I joined Cricket Nation.
Sounds pretty great.
At Cricket, anyone can get a new phone when they switch.
Whoa.
With a high-quality camera, meaning more flattering selfies for all. And super fast 5G, so you can post them for all to see. Your friends, your family, your ex. Free phone! Free phone!
Okay, I'll switch.
Welcome to Cricket Nation.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month voice plan. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
HIV is not a crime, or it shouldn't be.
It's time for the laws to catch up to science.
Join the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation to modernize outdated HIV criminalization laws. Go to etaf.org. Campaign funded through the support of Gilead Sciences Incorporated.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile apps. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show.
There are rules that the committee is supposed to follow about when teams can face each other in regular season rematches, particularly if they're from the same conference. And if we end up with double-digit SEC teams in the field, and certainly we are, and it could go as high as 13 or 14, which is still almost inconceivable to me, you get to the point where there's just no place to put them and not break their own rules.
The Adam Gold Show, I'm Adam Gold. I actually turned my microphone off. Welcome. It is your Monday. Lots to do here. Julius Hodge is going to join us in about 15 minutes. He is the head coach at Division II Lincoln University and HBCU in Philadelphia. They are headed to the CIAA tournament, which begins this week in Baltimore. I love the fact that it's in Baltimore, one of my all-time favorite cities. And we wish the Lincoln University Lions well there. I think they're the third seed. But we'll talk to Jules coming up in a little bit. I'm sure he's been paying attention to what's going on at NC State. And I know he was active on social media during the State-Duke game, which was one of the most fun games that I watched all year long. I was so impressed with Wolfpack that game. We'll talk about it then. Speaking of, real quick, before we get to the Wall of Sound here, over the weekend it was reported, pretty much nobody's disputing it, John Shire clearly isn't, that Jay Lucas, who is Duke's associate head coach and their, I guess, air quotes here, defensive coordinator, will be the next basketball coach at the University of Miami. Like, terms have been agreed as a contract that still needs to be ironed out and signed, which has not happened yet. Duke plays at Miami on tomorrow.
They do? Yeah.
So, complicating, matters here. Because Jay's important to this team right now. So, navigating this between now and the end of the season will just add another wrinkle into the whole equation, not to mention the transfer portal opens up after the regular season's over, so all sorts of weird stuff. Jay was also pretty instrumental in recruiting the Boozer twins, who chose Duke over Miami. Look, weird, but a lot of adults in the room, and they will handle it. Are we ready for the Wall of Sound?
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, we're going to start. We're going to do a little hurricane stuff here real quick. And this is not from Rod Brindamore. This is actually from Elliot Friedman, who does, if you're a big hockey fan, you know who Friedman is. 32 Thoughts, the column on Sportsnet, 32 Thoughts, the podcast, which I listen to on the regular. There's a fresh one out today in which he does talk about Mikko Rantanen and that whole situation. And I wish when people were complaining, Hurricanes are shopping Mikko Rantanen. They're not shopping Mikko Rantanen. They're trying to sign Mikko Rantanen. Anyway, this is Friedman. I believe it's from Friday night. If it's not Friday night, it's Saturday night before hockey started. But I think it was from Friday night on Sportsnet in Canada talking about Rantanen.
I understand that during the Four Nations break, the Hurricanes met with his representatives face-to-face. They had a face-to-face conversation about where things were and where they were going, and the Hurricanes made an offer, and I believe that offer is into the 9 digits. So it's a big, big offer. And Rantanen at this point in time has said, not yes, not no. He's just said, I still need to process everything that's happened, the whirlwind, the emotion. So at this point in time, there's no answer from Rantanen, but I stress, everybody's telling me you shouldn't necessarily take that one way or the other. What has happened is teams are kind of waiting. There's a lot of talk out there, Ron, but if Rantanen's available at some point, you want to make sure you have your best assets to make a trade. And the other thing that someone said to me I should have spelled out but didn't is that if the Hurricanes are confident that they can still sign Rantanen after March the 7th, will they keep him and make a Stanley Cup run with him? So all of that is there, but they have made a big offer to Rantanen, and he has just said, look, I still need to process everything.
I think people kind of forget. I actually, in listening to the fresh 32 Thoughts, the podcast, Kyle Bukowskis, I'm sure I butchered the name, who is the co-host with Friedman, made a very good point. And you go back 25 years, actually 26 years in Hurricanes history, and they acquired a person who did not expect to be traded. That person was Rod Brind'Amour. Brind'Amour was a flyer. Wasn't an original flyer. He started with St. Louis. But he was a flyer, beloved in Philadelphia. And they moved Rod to get Keith Primo, Carolina's center, their captain, who was a holdout, a contract holdout. And the Hurricanes received Brind'Amour in the deal. Rod didn't expect to be traded, and he also didn't necessarily know that he was going to love Raleigh. The only difference there is that Rod had another year left in a contract. We're not pushing at the trade deadline and walking a player into free agency. But Rod did agree to stay. He saw the future, I guess. We'd have to really dig into it with Rod, and we all know how it has worked out. And the whole reason that Kyle brought it up was that it was also a shock to Rantanen. He never thought that the Avalanche would trade him. And even though he's played fine, the underlying numbers tell us that Rantanen has done everything he has been expected to do well. He just hasn't scored. And the players around him haven't, even though they have been set up to score. As long as that corrects itself, and it should, everything will be fine. I said this at the very beginning. I never looked at it as a rental, always looked at it as a long-term play. I think the Hurricanes look at it as a long-term play. I do think that based on everything that's gone on around, I think the Hurricanes are trying to get to the finish line sooner than they would have otherwise. And rather than just let the whole thing play out, I think they are going to effort and try to get him signed by the trade deadline, which is 2 weeks from this past Friday. We're 10 days away. So there were 7 games in between the return and the deadline. They will play 7 times between this past Saturday and actually the last game before the deadline is the 6th. Deadline is the 7th. I don't think it is going to be results based in terms of how many goals and assists Rantanen has. I think it will be just getting him more comfortable here. And it may not happen, but if they see a lot of signs, if he sees a lot of signs, I wouldn't be surprised if that contract was done sometime in the middle of March. But it'll all depend on how conversation's going on. But I'm surprised they're at this point already, because I don't think they expected to be here. Maybe they were going to always float trial balloons during the Four Nations face-off, and that was the plan. But they got probably further along in the process than I think they wanted. But interesting stuff. Anyway, real quick, John Shire, Duke's head basketball coach, on what that blowout over Illinois means.
I think it's a great lesson. I thought we showed a lot of growth the other games we've been in, but now it's back to the focus of ACC and finishing that off. And so we have to go on the road, obviously to Miami first, and then we'll go from there. But really proud of. There's a lot of lessons that we learned from earlier in the year to be ready for this one.
Yeah, the lessons that you get out of a blowout like that, I'm not sure what they are, other than just reinforcing how good Duke can be when they are clicking. That was gross how one-sided that game was. Gross. Like, I almost felt bad for Fox. And when Hubbard, the diminutive walk-on, hits a step-back three at the end, come on. All right, real quick from Hubert Davis about the ignition of Jalen Withers.
That's a great question. Maybe, a lot of times when you can see the end, it maybe refocuses you and you're able to see things from a different perspective. I'm glad he is, because I've told him this from the start. When Jay Witt is out there on the floor and he's playing well on both ends of the floor, he completely changes our team. Just defensively, rebounding, offensively, he just changes our team completely for the good. And he's playing his best basketball at the right time.
He is. Again, I'm not sure what it does for them defensively. It's also hard to really get a gauge when you've played three teams that are really outside the top 100 in the country. So, but him being a confident player changes a lot of things, certainly on the offensive end. I do think Carolina is going to have to beat teams offensively. They're not a great defensive team. They're not a bad defensive team, but their lack of size will show up against good teams. It's what happened against Clemson. It's what happened against Duke. And I'm not sure they're playing any good teams right now. And they won't for a few games. Duke comes up 2 weeks from this past Saturday. All right, when we come back, Julius Hodge, Wolfpack legend, head coach at Lincoln University in Philadelphia, CIAA tournament. They are the third seed. We'll talk to him about the season and going forward next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and do you have a late-night craving for in-depth analysis on the Carolina Hurricanes and their latest game, their latest win, their pursuit of the Stanley Cup? Well, I can quench your thirst. I can feed that appetite on the Canes Corner podcast, the morning after edition, which drops the morning after every Hurricanes game. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
Hello,
Creighton Blackwell here from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan. Tonight we are at Green Level High School, and we're here to celebrate the newest Scholar Athlete of the Month, Lexi Taylor.
My family is definitely like my biggest support through everything. My sister and my parents both support me through my hardest days and my best days, and they're always there to support me.
Lexi's a phenomenal athlete, comfortable with whatever you ask her to do. She's strong, she's poised, she doesn't get flustered easily.
And she's just like grown up so much as like a captain and a teammate, and she's been a captain now for 2 years, and I really just think she's been like such a great help to our team.
Well, I've been cheering with her since 7th grade and we're seniors now, so I've kind of like watched Lexi like grow up, I feel like, and she's like done the same with me. So I've like seen her like step into a leadership role, and I feel like she's just always super encouraging and keeps a positive attitude.
It means a lot to me to just be able to be recognized in such like a wide area with so many amazing athletes. So I just feel great to like feel like someone's like seeing all the hard work that I've been putting into my sport and my academics. So I'm very grateful for it.
Congratulations, Lexi.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be-in-the-room with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes.
And I went, oh, that's why. That's what.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. I miss certain events that used to be in town. Remember, we used to have a thing called the Jimmy V Celebrity Golf Classic, and it was just a great event to have in Raleigh. They don't have the event anymore, but it was like all the ESPN folks and a bunch of celebrities. Everybody's in town. They raise a bunch of money for charity, and then they all go out. They used to go to a place in Raleigh and do karaoke. No joke. I've seen a bunch of pictures recently for various reasons about nights where, holy crap, I was there for that. To watch Charles Barkley do karaoke is a thing. Another thing I miss that is no longer in Raleigh is the CIAA basketball tournament. It is a celebration of HBCU basketball and culture. It's a week-long event, men's and women's fields in the same place at the same time. Interviewed some absolute legendary figures. Magic Johnson would come into town for this a lot. Just an incredible, incredible event. And it's not just the basketball. It's just everything that comes with it. Doesn't come to Raleigh. I can't remember the last time it was here. It's in Charlotte for a long time, and will be in Baltimore this year, where out of the North, Lincoln University, the Lions are the 3rd seed. They will start playing on Wednesday. Julius Hodge is the head coach. Yes, that Julius Hodge is the head coach. How are you, man?
Adam, what's going on, man? I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I am doing well. First, I want you to talk to me about the end of the season because you guys went through it a little bit. I have been following. You guys did a little, 3 or 4 game losing streak, but you righted the ship. Yep. You righted the ship in the last one. How did you guys overcome whatever adversity was laid in front of you?
Well, we've been having a ton of success most of the season, and one of our big players, he's our mainstay inside, and we definitely like to activate him first and feed him. He got injured, so he missed a couple games, and he was out there playing 60%. Most guys aren't playing until they're 85, 90%, right?
Right.
But, we have a warrior down there. He was giving it all he had, but he was not 100%. So the moment he was able to get, closer to 100, to me, it comes at the right time because we had a explosion offensively against Bowie State.
Yeah.
A good Bowie State team, as well as our defense continued to lock teams down. During our losing skid, we were playing great defense. We were holding teams under 60, low shooting percentage, but we couldn't score the ball. So it's good to see things starting to come together.
Yeah, it really was your offense that went away during that stretch. When things are going right for the Lions, does it all start inside, or is it college basketball is a guard game? You were a guard, Jules. You were not a banger. So does it start inside for you, or does it start on the perimeter?
I like to activate my bigs first. So I get it. Everybody wants to play in pace and space and want to shoot 53s per game. I do too. When you have great three-point shooters and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving, we're not a great three-point shooting team, so I do not want to shoot 23s, all right? So
right.
I definitely love getting the ball inside and drawing double teams. So now if you do have an open three-pointer, it's not one that's contested. It's wide open, or you could catch it on a perimeter and rip it to the basket, get a double penetration. Then, you're able to pass inside, get to the free throw line, or hit a short mid-range. So, I'm a bit unconventional when you talk that way. But in terms of getting out in transition, playing tough defense, I think, across the board with, some of the best young coaches in the country.
I follow you on Twitter. I think most of our listeners probably do as well at Follow24 Hodge. The thing about you and your coaching journey and your playing journey, because that matters too. And I know you talked about you learned how to program build from Herb Sendek, and you learned a lot from Nate Oates, who's doing really well at the University of Alabama.
Absolutely.
Do you run the Princeton offense at Lincoln?
We do not run the Princeton offense, okay? We don't, all right, at all. But I would be lying to you if I said there wasn't at least a set in there where we have a lead, a comfortable lead, and we want to drain the shot clock. That's when I have a set in there that I run as a chin action, and we're just running until 8 seconds left, 9 seconds left in the shot clock, and then we'll go with a lane line ball screen. So I still got to give some respect to my college coach, Coach Sendek, all right? Offensively, our efficiency was number one in the ACC during the time, so don't be going on my college coach back, all right? He did his thing.
I was the one who defended that offense back in the day because Pete Carrill, who developed the offense while at Princeton, was also a consultant, I believe, maybe even a coach with the Sacramento Kings when Chris Webber was there, and they ran that offense. It's a good offense to run with professional players. It just annoyed a lot of State fans because it slowed the game down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like playing fast-paced. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't a huge fan of the Princeton then, and I'm not now.
Right.
I like, I have a lot more of the more modern stuff, NBA stuff in terms of grenade actions. We do a ton of triangle actions. My thing is I'm going to throw a couple of different actions at a team, and I'm going to see how they defend it early on. And if there's an action they're having a tough time defending, I like to call it milking a cow, to where we'll get to that same action but out of a different set, right? So it's kind of like you're throwing them off so they don't know exactly what's happening, but you're hitting them with the same action over and over until they find a way to stop it. I don't like giving my opponents the answers to the test. You got to do your study work on your own.
Julius Hodge is joining us here, head coach at Lincoln University. They will start play Wednesday in the CIAA tournament. You were here at the same time the CIAA was here, and I was just talking before you came on. It's one of the events in Raleigh that I miss being here.
Oh, man.
Because
you miss Flip Murray. Oh, no, you saying you miss being there because we all seen Flip Murray.
Right.
He was amazing at the time in the CIAA. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just missed the event because
Absolutely.
it was a who's who of basketball. It's not just the basketball. You got men and women at the same time, by the way, which you don't have anywhere else. Actually, you might have it at the MEAC, but it's about culture, the roots of the sport. So many legends played in that league, whether it's Earl Monroe, and I think you have to deal with Winston-Salem State to start. Who knows if Stephen A. Smith will be in the house for that as
Absolutely.
well. I know Virginia Union, you just beat them, or you split with them recently. Is Charles Oakley hanging around?
That's right.
So
no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna. What do you remember about that event when it was in Raleigh?
Yeah, I just remember just all of the people, showing up for their different HBCUs and the love and connectivity, and honestly, just watching Flip Murray just tear it up. Right, Flip was a senior, I believe, my freshman year in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, rest in peace, Anthony Grundy said, "Hey, man, Jules, we got to go check out a game. Man, I'm telling you, Flip is nice. Like, he's one of the best players right now in the country." And I said, "What, D2?" He said, "No, overall." I was like, "Man, whatever, bro." He said, "Sure." I went and he scored like 38. I was like, "No, like, he's an NBA player." He's like, "Jules, I don't know about." I said, No. That's an NBA player right there." And it's crazy because I was saying that too, a future NBA player in Grundy, but no, I definitely loved watching those games, and it's a ton of talent in this league as well.
Julius Hodge is joining us here. How have you grown as a coach from the beginning of the season to where you are right now?
Man, patience.
Really?
Absolutely. 'Cause I came in with an iron fist, and you can't coach these young men like that. You have to meet them where they are and then help build them up.
Right.
So I've been able to learn throughout the season, as well as just knowing, hey, if you don't have the personnel to play as fast as you want right away, don't just continue running a fast-paced offense where you don't have the numbers. You don't have the depth chart, and the talent isn't quite where I want it to be yet. So I had to meet my guys halfway there as well and meet them in the middle and just say, hey, this is the way we're going to play. And there's a couple teams that like to play really fast, but they play a lot of bodies. And we don't play that way. I get into, hey, this is my system. These are the guys that are going to play. They earned it in practice, and this is what we're going to do. So we've learned to run, have targeted runs. So whenever there's a turnover or a missed three-point shot, we get a rebound, we're off.
Right.
And I don't care who knows that strategy because you have to stop it on the court. So I don't care. And when we don't, the team scores, we come down and we run our stuff. So it's been going well for the guys for the most part.
A rule you had at the beginning of the season that you have scrapped. Do you have any of those?
No. I was coached by Coach Sindek in college, and the rules are rules. All right, you can't break them, and you can't be rigid with them. Right, they're not bending. You just have to do the right things every day. So in terms of discipline and accountability, respect and perseverance, which is fighting adversity, those are the 4 pillars of our program, and we have to do those things every single day. And it's not just about basketball. So I tell this all the time, and I say it, and I know it may drive my AD crazy, Mr. Stinson. He hasn't said it yet, but I know it does. I don't care much about the wins or losses. I care about these young men succeeding in life. If I'm getting invites to weddings, as these young men are growing old and becoming family men, that's when I know I've done the right thing, right, in coaching. So I want to make sure that if they're following the 4 pillars of our program, we're going to have success on the court and off the court. So in terms of bending rules, I don't bend in any of those pillars. But, lightening up sometimes, sometimes I tend to tell the truth, be extremely honest.
Right.
And you can't really do that to your backup quarterback, all right? You got to keep them positive and upbeat and,
Right.
more positivity. So I've learned to do that a lot more throughout the course of this season, as well as still, telling the guys the truth.
So if, let's just say your best player, let's just say he and his buddies go to a movie and he tries to bring a whole pizza into the movie in a backpack. And he got in trouble for it.
I didn't get in trouble for that. See, no one knew except for Joe, and Joe told everyone on air. But
I was just curious about the whole thing. Has it been as fun as you thought it would be?
Yes, absolutely. Coming into it, everybody said this would be your most difficult season, with the change and when it happened in the middle of July and not being able to get your guys in. I hate when people say that, your guys.
Right.
These are my guys. I've been coaching them now for 8-9 months. These are my guys, and this is a lifelong relationship that we're building. But everyone said this would be your toughest year, and what I do when it gets a little difficult, I'll just call my brother, and I'll be like, hey, just lend me your ear for 10 minutes.
Right.
I'm going to rant a little bit on my guys, but I love them before I start my rant, and I love them afterwards. So this middle stuff, just let it go in one ear and out the next, and I'll have that release, and then I'll go to a hot yoga class the next morning, and I am fine. I'm not taking this stuff home with me.
Right.
I'm having great conversations with my wife. I'm pleasant. I'm still working my son out, and I'm not being extra pissed with him when he's not doing things 100% the right way because he's 12.
Right.
And he's not 23. But, no, man, it's been a joy, and I love what I'm doing.
Julius Hodge. All right, before I let you go, how much are you paying attention to what's going on down here in Raleigh and in the ACC? And if you have any thoughts on state and just how much of a wagon Duke might be?
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I haven't been paying much attention.
Okay.
I've been so locked in on what we're doing here. I would love to play an ACC team, in an exhibition.
You played Duke this year.
To be NC State. I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love to play state. If someone can make that happen, please do so. But I haven't been paying much attention, so I won't be too helpful in that conversation.
Gotcha. But you did play Duke earlier this year.
We did. We saw Cooper Flag before everyone else, and yeah, he is who we say he is. All right, whatever we think he is that. That dude's the truth.
He is unbelievable. Jules, I could not be more thrilled. Good luck to you starting out on Wednesday. I hope it's a long run in the CIAA and whatever's next, and I will talk to you very soon, my friend.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Have a good one. Thanks for having me.
You too. Julius Hodge, Lincoln University head coach. Of all the players that I had the joy of covering when I was actively covering basketball, I've talked about, some of my favorites. The only one who knew the history of the game, Jules. And I am of the belief that you can't be great, truly great, or I shouldn't say you can't be. It helps if you are going to be great that you understand what came before you. Jules knew the history of the game. He embraced it. He loved it. One of the smartest players I ever watched at NC State or anywhere. He's going to be a good head coach. He's had good training in that regard. Good luck to the Lions, and I believe it's Winston-Salem State on Wednesday at the CIAA tournament in Baltimore. When we come back, we will get into a rewind. What is the biggest problem right now for the Carolina Hurricanes? Among that and more, next.
From the heels
Touchdown, Carolina!
to the Canes.
She scores! sports.
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Electricity. It's what powers our lives, from the ordinary to the extraordinary. In North Carolina, 26 local electric cooperatives provide energy to 2.8 million people across the state. But we're providing so much more than affordable, reliable power. We're helping to strengthen the people and communities that make our state great, today and for generations to come. North Carolina's electric cooperatives. Power you can count on, now and always. Learn more at ncelectriccooperatives.com.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself, but it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuitions do. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college. Whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans, it all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
I'm Faith. I work as an American Sign Language interpreter, and I just graduated from my bachelor's program. I texted 988 because at the moment where I needed help, I realized that I didn't have access to English at the moment. Sometimes speaking gets hard for me, and they just helped me calm down, and then I was able to find a friend. It's free, and you can get in touch with people who are trained to help through all sorts of crises.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends, look closer. Right in your community, there are youth who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So, look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. Every youth who walks into Covenant House gets clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So, look closer at Covenant House and help us fight youth homelessness. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
This is Adam Gold.
But whenever you say, well, we're not using this as an excuse, no, we are. Whether it's justifiable or not can be a different discussion, but you are.
It's like the equivalent of saying no offense, but ...
Offense coming.
Yeah, get ready for it.
Look out. Here we come with some offense for you.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. We're going to hit the rewind in a little bit. You'll hear from Wes Moore. You'll hear from Cory Lavalette. Wes Moore, of course, NC State's women's basketball coach, one of my favorite people in the world to talk with. And we caught up with him at the beginning of the show because yesterday, NC State in double overtime knocked off then number 1, now number 3, Notre Dame was at 104.95 in double OT. Before we get to that, a couple of more quick items. I mentioned it briefly. Jay Lucas, Duke's defensive coordinator, associate head coach, is going to be the new head coach at the University of Miami. The only thing they haven't done really is signed a contract yet. It's unusual and not ideal that this news comes during the season that Jay Lucas is involved in, and Duke's next opponent just happens to be Miami down there tomorrow. By the way, North Carolina plays Florida State on the road tonight in Tallahassee. Luke is an outstanding coach. He and John Shire are very good friends. Obviously, they have worked very well together. Jay is a great recruiter. He was the point, recruiter on the Boozer twins. Of course, John Shire, in and of himself, is a great recruiter. So the two work hand in hand. But it is interesting that Miami was the other finalist for the Boozer twins. It came down to Duke or Miami. But it's not an ideal situation and all of that. There's also another story, but they'll get through it. There's also another story out there that the ACC and the Big East might be headed towards some sort of a basketball alliance. Now, Mike Krzyzewski, who does a radio show, I don't know if you know this, he has a Sirius XM show called Basketball and Beyond. I've actually been in the room when he does it before. He had Rick Pitino on recently. I think this was on his show. And they actually called it a merger between the Big East and the ACC. That's not going to happen in that regard. But I can definitely see a blending of teams for events and having not just, we used to have, we have this ACC SEC challenge. And before then it was the ACC Big Ten challenge. But it started as an ACC Big East challenge back in the day, back in the late 80s. And I could certainly see something that goes beyond that, maybe even, I don't know, early season tournaments that feature just ACC and Big East teams. I think there is a lot of creativity that could come out of that marriage, if you will. And I also wouldn't be completely shocked to see maybe Big East ACC games appear on the ACC network. Anything to get the ACC network more exposure, I think ESPN would be all about. The Big East has a deal with Fox, not with ESPN, but it would be interesting to see how all of that played out down the road. But it certainly was certainly interesting to hear. One other thing before we rewind. For people who know the history of this, the Yankees have just gotten rid of a rule that they have had for about 50 years.
Oh.
Yes. The Yankees, who I think they're the only Major League Baseball franchise that does not have alternate uniforms. Every team, the Dodgers wear blue jerseys, right?
Sure.
Every team has multiple uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees have road grays, home pinstripes. That's it. No second hat, nothing.
Wow. Missed opportunity. Until now, maybe?
No. The Yankees are staying with them.
Oh.
They are allowing facial hair.
Oh, wow.
It used to be you could have a mustache, but that was it. No beards.
Wow, they allow mustache, but not a beard?
Not a mustache, which I guess...
it's interesting how one's okay, but the other's not.
Mustache is fine. There have been plenty of mustaches in Yankee lore, whether it's Catfish Hunter, the late Catfish Hunter, or Goose Gossage, or catcher Rick Cerrone, whatever. They've had plenty of mustaches, but no beards. Beards are now allowed for the Yankees.
Interesting.
There you go. So with that, it's time to rewind.
Now they can have playoff beards.
They could.
Maybe it'll get them further.
Hey, look, the Yankees have been close lately.
Yeah.
They have been close. Complaining that the Dodgers spend too much money.
Yeah.
When the Yankees complain that another team spends too much money,
Gonna say
it feels like
weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll spend some more money.
Like the Dodgers do spend a lot of money.
They do.
And the fact that Shohei Ohtani's contract, Rob Manfred said it the other day, don't blame the Dodgers. It's the rule. The fact that Shohei Ohtani's contract is almost entirely deferred. Yeah, that's good because the Dodgers push the bill down the road. But what it also does is that it lowers their luxury tax number for that particular contract. So they get a lower, their luxury tax number is the highest in Major League Baseball. They're paying the luxury tax that the Mets paid last year. The Mets are below that threshold this year. But the Dodgers have nearly a $400 million payroll. It's crazy.
Wow.
Right, and you've got like the Rays and the A's, whose payroll will be in the neighborhood of like $70 million.
Mm-hmm.
But that's by choice. They have decided to not care. The Rays do it differently. The Rays have managed to be good, although not so much lately, be good without paying their team. The Pirates they have decided the Pirates to be cheap and bad.
Yes.
That's their choice.
They just want to stay that way.
Right. And because they get a profit.
Mm-hmm.
You get revenue sharing, and you can just stick that money in your pocket, not put it back into the team, and continue to stink and continue to make money
Your
stinking.
fans hate you.
And your fan, yeah, right. So it doesn't matter that you get like 18, 19,000 people a game to come watch them lose because they're making money, and that's all that matters to them. Winning doesn't matter. When everybody tells you about the salary cap, keep this in mind. The salary cap only helps owners keep more money. Way other factors that help the NFL with a salary cap or the NHL with a salary cap, and all it does is prevent other teams from spending money, but it doesn't make your team better.
Mm-mm.
Okay, moving on. We're going to start with Wes Moore, NC State women's basketball coach. And over the last several weeks, I have noticed, and I'm just going to use NC State as an example here, because the Wolfpack have not been good this year. And games at Lenovo Center, they're probably getting somewhere in a neighborhood of, we'll say 10,000 people at Lenovo Center. And when you have a, 19,000 seat arena for basketball, and it is half full, it really looks like it's half empty.
Good thing the seats are red.
Not half full,
And
right.
black.
So I understand it's probably not 6,000 like some people think. It's probably a lot closer to 10. But again, when it's half full, and maybe the last few have been well below 10, because I'm sure there's not a ton of people in the upper deck. But what is missing from that is what is evident about NC State women's basketball games at Reynolds Coliseum and the atmosphere. And we talked about that with Wes Moore.
Yeah, Adam, I tell you, it was when I got here 12 years ago, and especially when we redid Reynolds Coliseum, I made the comment that our goal would be to someday have scalpers and, SeatGeek and all that stuff, and our tickets be in demand. And now here we are. And to be honest with you, it's a pain in the butt. I only get so many. We don't really have a pass list because every game's selling out, and I got to figure out how to, take care of a few family or friends. And but it's a good problem to have. And like you said, great atmosphere. Digger Phelps even, we were at Notre Dame a few years ago having shoot around, and he was there, and I asked him to come out and speak to our team, and he told our team, and this is before Notre Dame was obviously in the ACC, but he said Reynolds Coliseum was the toughest place we ever went into. And I think that's definitely the case now because of our fans.
It's just an incredible. You could feel it. What an incredible environment it is for the game. Not just women's basketball, just for the game. And I felt the same way watching State play at Carolina at Carmichael. Man, those buildings just hit different. By the way, they're beautiful inside too. Reynolds has become a Hall of Fame, and it is just awesome. And no, the men can't play there. They can't play in front of 5,000 people. Although I think they should take more than just kind of a throwaway game there. I'd like to see them take, I don't know, maybe even a conference game, but certainly a good non-conference game and charge big-time dollars to go. You make the money up. Make the money up. Make it that kind of an event. But I don't think they're going to do that. All right. Let's move on to the Carolina Hurricanes. And Cory Lavalette, North State Journal, and The Athletic joined me. And after 6 weeks of the season, I thought Brent Burns was playing exceptionally well defensively. But boy, the last month of games, we have a 2-week break in here. So really the last 6 weeks or so, it has gone the other way. I asked Cory about that.
Yeah, it's been a struggle, right? I don't know if it's just the wear and tear of playing, 20 minutes a night at, approaching 40 years old or what it is, but it's a tough situation. And, the way Rod has tried to explain it is this is a different role for him. He wasn't on a shutdown pairing last year or the year before, right, because they had Pesci and Shea, but it's been tough. I mean, the mental mistakes is the thing that stands out. It'd be one thing if we were just talking about physical, slow degradation of, losing a step and things like that. But when you start throwing the pucks in the middle of the ice in the defensive zone, stuff like that is just incomprehensible. Like, I don't understand. If anybody shouldn't be making that mistake, it's a guy with more than 20 years in the league.
All right, so that's one thing with Brent Burns and the defense. Here's the other thing that, because so many people are like, why is Brent Burns on a top pair? Like, we always go about the business of, like, reshuffling the lineup as fans. And I do it too, by the way. I've actually already done it today with the forward lines. Okay? We do this all the time. And that's fine. The coaching staff doesn't do it as much as maybe you want. And they're probably a lot smarter about this than we are. But from the very beginning of the season, it was pretty obvious that Carolina's defensive pairs were not only easy to determine, but also no real way to alter them. In fact, through however many games we play, we have 25 left. So what is that, 57? Through 57 games, the Hurricanes have made, without an injury, one switch, and it wasn't even for a full game. It was a game, and I'm trying to think where it was. Might have been in Buffalo, where Carolina was so bad defensively that Rod just changed everything for that game and has since gone back to the way the lines are made up. And that's because their blue line is too rigid. There's only two defensive-minded defensemen. We talked about that.
Yeah, and, it's tough because you can see the path to where they're headed as a defense beyond this year and even, at the end of this year maybe, with the infusion they're going to get from Alexander Nikishin and Scott Morrow. And, I didn't think Scott Morrow did particularly much of anything when he was up.
Correct. He didn't play much.
Which is to be understood. I mean, he was playing as a seventh defenseman, and he wasn't playing in roles that he's used to playing in, like playing on the power play and things like that. So it's like, do you panic about this defense right now when you know where it's headed? We know what's coming, whether it's, it feels pretty certain that Brent Burns and Dmitry Orlov will not be back after this season.
Right.
And if you add Nikishin and you add Scott Morrow to that defense, and that's the route you go. We'll see if that's what they do, if they feel they can play two essentially rookies right off the hop. I think they probably can. You just need to figure out who fits with Slavin. Maybe it's Sean Walker to start. We'll see how that all fits out. Maybe Scott Morrow can play that role, but I think there needs to be a little more defensive polishing, and there's questions about that. But it's hard. It's hard to do much of anything right now, unless would somebody take Dmitry Orlov, and can you get, the other thing about this is, when does Alexander Nikishin show up?
Sure.
We just don't know, and when he does show up, we know he's going to be a great player. Is he going to be a great player right away? History says no. Hurricanes defensemen need some time to adjust.
Yeah. Nikishin's season also isn't over until almost the regular season will be over. So do we anticipate Alexander Nikishin showing up and then just stepping right into a playoff spot? I mean, anything could happen. The head coach did it. The head coach left Michigan State after his freshman year and played his first game, I believe, in the playoffs for the St. Louis Blues. So, we're talking about somebody who should be in the Hall of Fame in Rod Brindamore. Alexander Nikishin, I don't know if he's that guy or not. But right now, I think Carolina has some things to iron through, not the least of which is the center position. I think they could use another center. Right now, I mean, it doesn't look as good. It's hard to believe that the loss of Jack Drury could matter this much, but it kind of does. All right, we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thank you, Victoria. Bye.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.